On the northern border of the Crassus kingdom, a legion stands ready. Their commander, Duke Elion, is about to have a heart attack. Because what's charging towards them isn't exactly human. They're facing a horde of undead. And leading the horde, it's the legendary undead knight, Durian. Yes, like the stinky fruit, and just as unpleasant. Durian is so ridiculously overpowered that even 10 high-ranking knights would just be a light snack for him. The soldier panics, telling the Duke they can't possibly win. But the Duke refuses to retreat. If this gate breaks, the entire nation is finished. They have to hold them back, but his speech is suddenly cut short. Out of nowhere, a lone rider breaks from the ranks and charges straight at the enemy. The Duke is shocked by the reckless charge, but the soldier actually recognizes him. It's Lord Urin Rox from the Southern Marquisate. Yep, that's our protagonist, Urin Rox. And everyone knows him as the dude who only fights using daggers. The Duke is still in despair. He thinks it's impossible. Daggers can't kill Durian. There's just no way. But Urin unleashes a devastating attack. Boom! The Duke and his soldier are speechless. The impossible just happened. Durian is literally melting away. And he's not the only one. The entire front line of the undead horde is being vaporized by the daggers. With a single strike, the terrifying undead are melting into nothing. The men on the wall are in awe. They're wondering if he could be a saint sent by the heavens. Urin scoffs? A saint? Please, don't make him laugh. System notifications pop up, confirming he's gained EXP by absorbing the poison from the undead. He smirks. He ain't no saint. He's just someone who'll eat anything if it will make his body stronger. But how did he get so strong? For that, my friends, we have to rewind 6 months. A young man wakes up in a lavish bedroom, completely disoriented, as a woman's voice calls him young master. He's stunned by the beautiful woman before him, though he finds her formal clothes and the sword at her hip a little strange. She asks if he's feeling all right, then turns to leave, saying she'll call a priest immediately. He tries to call out to ask a question, but she's already gone. Too slow, buddy. Getting out of bed, he still has absolutely no idea where on earth he is. But then he catches a glimpse of his reflection in a full-length mirror. He screams in absolute horror. No way. What the heck is this? My body. He can't believe it. Where's his original sexy middle-aged self? Why does he look like some chubby brat? He stumbles trying to figure out if this is all just one really weird dream. Just then, a group of people enter the room. An old man speaks to him. You're awake, young master. An intimidating man with a beard and a fur-lined cape glares down at him as the attendant checks his hand. The man sneers, calling him the disgrace of the household and asking if he's finally decided to wake up. The attendant tries to calm him down, suggesting they save the punishment for later, but the scary man just scoffs. The attendant notes that for someone who fainted, the young master's mind is stable and his injuries have healed. The scary man explodes with rage. A relief? He says it would have been better if he'd died. Dad of the year, folks. He accuses him of assaulting his own fiancée, calling him a beastly jerk. He points a finger, yelling that at 19 years old, it's about time he finally grew up. He's furious that even his younger brother has opened his aura, while he, the eldest, just gets fatter by the day. Ouch. The word aura rings a bell, and the young man's eyes widen in dawning horror. The man orders him to go apologize to her once he's recovered. He means his fiancée, Ilya, and if she doesn't forgive him, he's totally finished. Finally, he screams his name, Urin, don't disgrace the Rox family any further. The realization hits him like a ton of bricks. He's Urin Rox, which means the scary old man must be, no way. You're the Marquis Wellington Rox? He yells out loud. Uh-oh. The Marquis is furious. How dare this brat call his own father by his name? He delivers a brutal punch straight to Urin's jaw. Pow. Urin is sent flying across the room as the attendants rush to restrain the enraged Marquis. As he lies on the floor, bruised and dazed, he thinks this can't possibly be happening. He loses consciousness, convinced it all has to be a dream. Poor guy. But then he gasps, waking up right back in the same bed. What the heck? Why am I not waking up from this dream? He's thinking. And the same white-haired woman is standing there. He recognizes her now. Arin? Arin turns, her expression placid as she answers, yes? Urin, looking bruised and pathetic, sits up in bed. It really is her. He tries to get his bearings, asking, so, the reason I'm here, is it because I went after Ilya and got beaten up? Arin hesitates, thinking about her reply. But then, she's shocked by his respectful tone. Why are you suddenly being so formal? He quickly gets back on track. Anyway, I got knocked out by Ilya, right? Arin confirms, yes. She clarifies the situation for him. You attacked Lady Ilya here, and she beat you senseless until you fainted. The reality of the situation crashes down on him. Oh, I am so screwed. Sitting on the edge of his bed, it all starts to click. He somehow ended up inside the web novel he wrote. But there's a huge catch. He's not the protagonist. He's the trash side villain who picks a fight with the hero and dies a miserable death. What a terrible role. He completely loses it, grabbing his hair and yelling, this can't be happening, no way. His panic reaches a fever pitch as he screams, this isn't even a webtoon. Orin just blinks, completely bewildered by his bizarre outburst. A webtoon? Tears stream down his face as he remembers just who he's become, Urin Rox. To put it simply, the guy is a total scumbag with no talent or skills who leeches off his family name. In the story, he loses his fiancée to the protagonist, attacks the hero in a jealous rage, and gets completely beaten down. His pathetic story ends with him dying pitifully in some back alley. The worst kind of ending. He sits on the bed feeling hopeless. How am I supposed to survive? I don't know what abilities this guy even has. But then, a glimmer of hope. Wait, I know about the chances and items the protagonist hasn't found yet. Fired up, he decides he needs to prepare fast and leaps out of bed. He immediately stumbles. Erg, this damn body, so heavy with fat. Arin quickly steadies him, asking if he's alright. He grits his teeth. Not even close. Suddenly, his eyes widen in shock at something only he can see. Arin tells him he should be resting. But he's not even listening. He's squinting his eyes trying to get it back. Could it be because I frowned earlier? It works. A holographic status window materializes in front of Arin, who looks on, confused. He's stunned. It's the famous status window. It shows her name, traits, and an affection level of 0. Arin snaps him out of it, asking, "Young master?" He quickly plays it cool. No, I must have gone crazy for a second. He dismisses her, telling her to go take care of her tasks. She obliges with a simple, "Yes, sir." As she walks away, he examines the stats again. Swift sword, huh? Right, Arin was always set up as being stronger than regular knights. But one detail catches his eye. Affection. A big fat 0. What the heck is this? A dating sim, he wonders. He wonders if this feature exists because he mostly played dating sims in his past life. What a nerd. He ponders the bizarre world building. Well, wait, at least the affection isn't negative. Realizing that's not the point, he quickly turns to the mirror. He focuses on his own reflection, determined to see his own status. There it is. His own status window appears and his jaw drops. It lists his name, Urine Rocks, a condition of morbid obesity, a trait I of the creator, a locked skill, and a sync rate of 99.9%. One skill in particular stands out, 4 Heavenly Venom Arts of the Sichuan Tang Clan. Wait a minute, isn't that from that wuxia webtoon he loved? The one with the hot heroine? He flashes back to reading the webtoon, remembering how hot that heroine was. The poison and hidden weapon style of the Sichuan Tang Clan. Man, this world's lore is a total mashup, but wait. A sinister grin spreads across his face as an idea begins to form. This could actually be his ticket to survival. You see, folks, the Sichuan Tang Clan was a legendary family straight out of a Chinese wuxia novel. And get this, their whole deal is deadly poisons and silent assassinations using hidden, toxin-laced weapons. Urine's now staring at his stats. Severely obese with a locked skill and a sync rate of 99.9%. Urine is completely baffled. He's like, why is the Sichuan Tang Clan here since this is supposed to be a medieval fantasy world? My guy, that's what we're all thinking. But then a wicked grin spreads across his face. You can just see the gears turning in his head. But what if I could unlock this ability? Meanwhile, in another part of this giant mansion, Urine's dad is still stewing at about how useless his son is when Arin walks in. He asks if his son has woken up yet. The Marquise wants to know how he's doing, but Arin's report isn't great. She says he doesn't seem normal yet. Arin recalls Urine stumbling just trying to stand up, noting that his body is still in pretty terrible condition. The Marquis mutters to himself, confused because the priest said his wounds weren't even that deep. He then asks Arin if Urine's behavior seemed a little strange. Arin totally agrees. Normally, if Urine was told to apologize his fiancée, Ilya, he'd throw a massive fit. This time, he just said yes. But the Marquis just scoffs and dismisses it. He figures his personality hasn't changed, he's just dazed from his injuries. He predicts that by tomorrow, Urine will be back to his trash self swearing revenge. He even mocks Arin for having any faith left in the kid. Even I, his father, have given up on him. But you still believe in him? Dad of the year, folks. He laughs bitterly, telling Arin he almost feels bad for her, and that he should have just let her live her life as a knight. Clutching his head in frustration, the Marquis laments how hard it must have been for Arin to serve his son. Arin tries to protest, but Arin insists, saying that today, the young master felt different somehow. Cut back to Urine's room, where Arin is freaking out. You're gonna do what? Urine declares, I want to exercise a bit. Show me the way to the training hall. Arin is completely floored. You're saying, you want to train? Right now? Urine confirms it nonchalantly, asking if there's a problem. Internally, he's reviewing his stats. His Eye of the Creator trait lets him see them, but he has no idea how to unlock that sweet Sichuan Tang Clan ability. The walk itself is a huge trial. Urine complains that the mansion's garden is the size of several stadiums and he's already exhausted. But he can't go back to working out in his room. His own fat just kept dragging him back to the comfort of his bed. The struggle is real, my friend. As they walk, a pair of servants see them and flinch, quickly bowing before scurrying away like their lives depend on it. Urine notices something else. His special eye is showing him the affinity of every single servant he bumps into. And the results are not good. He's seeing ratings like dislike, extreme dislike, and even hatred. Ouch. He grimaces. All of them hate me. But he quickly admits to himself that, considering what a jerk the original Urine was, he can't really blame them. Finally, after a long, exhausting walk, Urine pants, "Are we there yet?" Urine calmly replies that they're almost there. Arin explains this is the third training hall, which is usually empty. But as they approach, Arin notices someone's here. Urine's system immediately goes wild. The affinity reading is a terrifying -91. Killing urge. Yikes. The system identifies the man as Rekka Alian, a user of Quicksword level 1. Well, this is going to be fun. The muscular man turns, a sword at his hip, and says sarcastically, "Oh my, Isn't this the young master himself? Yurin stares in shock, his face filled with dread. This guy literally wants to kill him. The panic is real, folks. Rekka smirks, his expression absolutely menacing. What brings you to the training hall? Yurin points a trembling finger. Rekka Alian? Rekka's smirk just widens. It's an honor that the young master still remembers me. The sarcasm is just dripping off this guy. Yurin flinches as Rekka draws his sword slightly, forcing a nervous smile.
Yeah, of course.
He quickly turns and whispers to Erin. Did something happen between me and that guy? Yurin whispers frantically. Erin looks at him, confused. Don't you remember? Yurin just shakes his head. Erin begins to explain. A few years ago, when the Marquis forced Yurin to train, he got angry. You called over Rekka, who was a trainee knight, and you scarred his face with a sword while laughing. After that, his dad gave up on his training. Yikes. Yurin stammers. No way. Across the yard, Rekka sighs, a dangerous glint flashing in his eye. The realization hits Yurin like a ton of bricks. Yurin really was a hopeless piece of trash. All right, time to bail. Let's run. Let's go back, he says. As they walk away, Yurin asks if there's another training hall, preferably one he can use alone so he doesn't get murdered. Erin tells him there's a fourth hall, but it's far away and poorly equipped. It's basically just an empty field. Sounds perfect, Yurin exclaims, his mood instantly brightening. If I'm gonna lose weight, I'll do it properly. Slightly taken aback, but willing to go along, Erin says, very well, follow me. She has no idea what to make of this guy. They arrive at the fourth training hall, a massive, barren courtyard with some old equipment scattered around. Perfect. Yurin stares at a table of throwing knives. The Sichuan Tang clan specialized in throwing knives and small weapons. He gets an idea, a determined look on his face as he reaches out and picks up a small dagger. He stands before a distant target, ready to see if he can awaken his hidden potential. Time to unlock the cheat code, guys. He grips the dagger, winds up with all his might, and lets it fly with a powerful shout. The knife sails through the air and clatters uselessly on the ground, miles away from the target. Oof, Yurin sighs in disappointment. I thought I could unlock it. So much for being a secret assassin. He glances over and sees Erin watching. I just threw one for fun. He laughs awkwardly, scratching the back of his head. Smooth. Very smooth. Changing the subject, he decides he needs to build basic stamina first and asks Erin for ideas. Erin suggests running laps. I'll train on my own, Yurin declares, waving Erin off. So you train however you like, Erin. Erin just watches, surprised, as Yurin actually starts running. What is happening? She can't believe it. Yurin actually came to the training grounds and started working out. This is a historical moment, folks. Back in his office, Marquis Rox stares out the window. He knows about Yurin's strange behavior but remains skeptical. Strange? How long will that last, though? And just like that, 3 weeks fly by. The training montage is complete. In his office, Marquis Rox reflects on his son's progress. At 3 straight weeks, Yurin hasn't missed a single training session. He's noticed the change. Yurin has lost a significant amount of weight, and his entire appearance has transformed. The Marquis smiles. As expected of my son, he muses that, without all the fat, his son is actually quite handsome. Oh, so now you're proud of him. Could it be? Has his troublesome son finally matured? We'll see about that. Meanwhile, back in his room, Yurin examines his new physique in the mirror. He lets out a sigh. Sure, he's slimmed down a lot, but the Sichuan Tang clan trait still refuses to unlock. The grind continues. He decides to give it one more month. If it doesn't work, he'll just have to hijack a fateful encounter meant for the original protagonist. Just then, Erin enters the room. Young master, I've brought dinner. Yurin turns, thanking her. A system window describes the meal, Chirin soup, a nutritious stamina dish for burning fat and building muscle. Yummy. Yurin's face scrunches in disgust. Chirin soup again? Erin watches him coolly. Are you tired of it? He snaps back. Of course I am. I've been eating nothing but this for 3 weeks straight. Erin's tone turns sharp. What is it that you truly want? Is it just to lose weight or to become a knight? Yurin stands his ground. Of course I want to be a knight. She coldly tells him that in this territory, even the mighty Marquis eats Chirin soup after training. She leans in, her voice rising. So you young master should stop complaining and eat your Chirin soup. Defeated, Yurin can only agree. Okay, fine, he knows who's boss. As he eats, he grumbles to himself about this outdated boomer custom. Still, he admits it has helped him lose weight, so he'll just put up with it for now. He takes a spoonful, and as he swallows, he notices something. Wait, what's this? Today's Chirin soup tastes subtly different. This can't be good. Suddenly, a system notice flashes before his eyes. Uh-oh, a pop-up ad. You have ingested poison. He stares in disbelief. What the? But another notification immediately follows. You have satisfied the unlock condition for Sichuan Tang clan. It's finally happened. The Sichuan Tang clan trait has been unlocked, and all it took was a little bit of poison. Unbelievable. All right, let's jump back a bit to when Marquis Wellington Rox was admiring his son from the window. That's my boy, all right? He chuckles. He can't help but notice Yurin's glow up. The kid finally dropped the baby fat and actually looks kinda handsome now. The Marquis has a moment of hope, wondering to himself, could it be? Has my useless son finally grown up? But just as he's getting sentimental, there's a knock at the door. Come in, he calls out. A woman enters carrying a tea tray. It's his wifey, bringing him some tea. This, my friends, is his second wife, Kana. As she sets down the tea, she sweetly asks what he was staring at so intensely. The Marquis tries to play it cool, claiming he was just admiring the garden. He even throws in a compliment about what a great job she's done with it. Very smooth. Suddenly, Kana turns on the charm, asking when he'll make her son, Colin, the heir like he promised. She leans in, saying since it's already decided, he might as well just get it over with. But today is a little bit different. Kana, that might take a little more time, he declares. Kana's eyes go wide. You can practically hear the record scratch. What? She snaps, completely losing her cool. You said you'd name Colin the heir this month. He tells her that things have changed. Urine, the actual firstborn son, has finally pulled his head out of his behind. With a sickeningly sweet smile, she says she's just so relieved Urine is doing better. The Marquis just laughs, saying all it took was getting rocked by his fiancée to finally wake the boy up.
Can't argue with results.
But Kina's creepy smile is back. So then she pushes, what about the successor? The Marquis says he's going to wait a bit. He wants to see if this change is for real or just a phase. But he makes her a promise. If Urine slips back into his old useless ways, Colin becomes the heir immediately. Kana accepts this for now, says she's off to bed, and makes her exit. The second she's out of sight, though, the mask comes off. She's practically vibrating with rage. Meanwhile, Urine's just trying to enjoy a meal when a system notification pops up. A locked trait, Sichuan Tang family, has been unlocked. He lets out a groan. The Sichuan Tang family are masters of poison, and the unlock condition was to ingest poison. What kind of game mechanic is that? He freezes as the pieces click into place. A system window appears, giving him a description of the soup he was just eating. He spots a tiny icon and realizes he can scroll through the item description just by looking at it. Now that's a cool user interface. The database updates, revealing a secret ingredient. Hanyang herb, a mild toxin that causes paralysis and death over time. Yikes. He's just staring off into space, processing this, when Aaron snaps him out of it. Young master, are you not going to eat? Startled, Urine immediately starts shoveling the poisoned soup into his mouth to act natural. He pauses mid-chew. Who would poison him? In the original story, Urine didn't die by poison. Something he did must have changed the timeline somehow. Ah, now he remembers. The second son, Colin, was supposed to be named the new heir by now, but that hasn't happened yet. Could it be because he of his sudden and dramatic weight loss? If that's the case, then the poisoner is almost definitely his dear old stepmom. With a look of pure determination, he finishes the soup. And what do you know? Another notification. Weak paralysis poison unlock condition met. He turns to a very confused Aaron and gives a dramatic thumbs up. I finished it all. It was so good I could cry. Urine then dismisses her, saying he needs some alone time. Aaron just bows and wishes him a good night, probably questioning his sanity. The second the door closes, the goofy act vanishes. His face goes cold. All right, Sichuan Tang, show yourself. A status window appears, showing off his new trait. He's got to admit the interface is pretty slick. He discovers that if he stares at the menu, it can expand, revealing a whole skill tree. Poison, hidden weapons, and martial arts. The holy trinity of martial arts. Naturally, he checks the poison tree first. It's a huge list of skills, but of course, everything is locked. He scrolls all the way down to the bottom and finds the final skill, level 30, Invisible Ultimate. Sounds OP. He realizes it's a level up system, and to unlock even the most basic poison, he needs to learn an inner techniques first. That makes sense. He hops over to the martial arts section to pick his starting move. He's given 3 options, but a big warning says he can only pick one. Talk about a crucial decision. As a wuxia fan, the choice is obvious. Dark Poison Arts is for poison specialists, and Thunder Needle Arts is for weapon masters, but 10,000 Venom's Divine Energy lets you master both. Why specialize when you can have it all? He gets that classic greedy protagonist grin. The more, the better. The system confirms his choice without judging. Suddenly, a golden light surrounds him. The entire technique is downloaded directly into his brain. Now that's what I call a cheat code. He's super excited and decides to try out his new power right away. He rips his shirt off, sits cross-legged, and immediately a golden aura starts glowing around him as he meditates. As he meditates, Urine feels a strange energy flowing through his entire body. And he figures it out instantly. He thinks, this must be chi. Following the instructions now hardwired into his brain, he guides the energy to his danshin to start building up his power level. The night passes in a blur, and soon the sun is rising over the estate. The grind never stops. Inside his room, Urine is still sitting on his bed, his all-night meditation session finally complete. He opens his eyes, feeling amazing. He realizes the martial arts novels were right. You really can just train all night instead of sleeping. It's all real. And even better, he's not even a little bit tired. In fact, his whole body feels like it's overflowing with pure energy. He's ready to go. His senses have gotten a serious buff, too. He can actually feel the flow of chi in everything around him. He can even tell exactly how many birds are sitting on the branch outside without even looking. Okay, that's pretty cool. He also feels a solid, warm ball of energy gathered in his dantian. His power core is officially online. With a grin, he decides to check his stats, circulating some chi to his head to bring up the menu. The status window appears, showing his 10,000 Venom's Divine Energy is now at 1 star. Nice. Suddenly, his new spidey sense tingles. He feels a familiar aura just outside his door. The door creaks open and Aaron peeks in. Young master, I came to wake you up. She glances at his perfectly made bed. Your bedding is untouched. You didn't sleep at all, did you? Urine just plays it cool, shrugging it off. Yeah, it just sort of happened that way. Arin looks concerned. That's not good for you. Maybe you should rest today instead of training. But Yurin immediately cuts her off, shouting, "No, I'm going." Then he strikes a pose and flexes. "I feel great. I'm in top condition. I have to train." Completely stunned, Arin just stammers, "Ah, yes. Okay, I'll go prepare breakfast then." She closes the door but stops for a second, a thought crossing her mind. "Wait a minute, young master. When did you get so muscular?" Finally, someone noticed. Later that day, Yurin heads out to the massive training ground. It's time to test his new skills. He walks over to a table that's covered with all sorts of different blades. He picks up a perfectly balanced throwing dagger. He stands in the middle of the training area with Arin watching from the side, and then something weird happens. He looks toward the practice targets, a little confused. His eyes widen as he realizes what he's seeing. Wait, a targeting system, just like a crosshair from a first-person shooter game, has appeared in his vision. He decides to test it out right away, locking the targeting system right onto the bullseye. He pulls his arm back, getting ready to throw. With a flick of his wrist, he sends the dagger flying. It soars through the air and hits the target. "Bullseye! Got it!" he yells with a huge grin. Meanwhile, poor Arin's jaw has completely hit the floor. And right on cue, a system window pops up to confirm it. Sichuan Tang Family Hidden Weapons Skill, unlock complete. Arin marches right up to Yurin and demands to know what in the world he just did. Yurin just smirks, playing it all cool. He claims he doesn't know either. Arin cannot believe what she's seeing. My girl is completely flustered by this sudden display of skill. And Yurin, being the little punk he is, finds her reaction hilarious. It's the first time he's ever seen her so worked up, so of course he's gonna show off again. He goes into full-on focus mode, holding up his fingers like he's about to cast a spell. He feels a fiery inner energy, his own personal mana surging up from deep within his body. He lets it rip, throwing the knife with even more speed and strength than the first time. Bam! The blade slams directly into the bullseye. The impact is so powerful it cracks the entire wooden target. Arin is absolutely stunned. She can only stammer about the cracked board, but Yurin is just gloating on the inside. He's thinking having an FPS-style crosshair is basically a cheat code. He even remembers his past life where he was so good at a game called Battle Attack that he won a whole tournament. Meanwhile, Arin is still completely baffled, demanding to know what on earth is happening. Yurin turns to her, all serious, and asks if she can feel anything strange about him. Arin gives it a thought. Other than the fact that he's lost a ton of weight, she can't really say. She explains that while he's been slimming down from training, the change today is way more obvious. Yurin is surprised. This is when it clicks for him. She can't sense the inner energy flowing through his body. This means he's the only one in this world who can use it. My dude just unlocked the ultimate undetectable power-up. He chuckles to himself and decides to keep practicing, effortlessly sinking another knife into a target. And another one. Then he lines up a shot with a small sword, and lands it perfectly. Arin can only watch, mouth covered in shock, completely speechless. Finally, Arin can't take it anymore and asks if she can try her hand at it. She grabs a knife, aims with everything she's got, and lets it fly with a huge shout. The knife sails high over the targets and clatters uselessly onto the ground. Whoops. Yurin just burst out laughing. So there is something you can't do. Suddenly, Yurin remembers something important and summons his status window. A notification pops up. He's unlocked a new skill called Straight Cut. It lets him throw any object as if it were a weapon. Any weapon? Yurin wonders, intrigued. In the background, Arin is still trying and failing to hit the target. Poor girl. He gets an idea and tells Arin to step aside. Arin just looks on confused as Yurin picks up a broken wooden practice sword. He holds the busted sword up, his eyes covered in shadow. You know it's serious when the artist does that. He can feel a massive amount of inner energy flowing from his core right down into his arms. He spins and hurls the broken sword, unleashing his new straight cut skill. Kaboom! The wooden sword smashes into the target, completely obliterating it on impact. Arin is in total shock. What on earth? Your Grace, what is that power? Yurin just shrugs it off as the power of practice, an excuse so bad even Arin knows it's impossible. Then, Yurin's expression turns serious. He tells Arin he knows she reports everything back to her father. He asks her for one favor. Keep what she saw today a secret, just for the time being. Arin hesitates, but Yurin promises he'll explain everything later after he's tested a few things out. She thinks about it for a moment and then reluctantly agrees. Later that evening, the castle staff members say their goodbyes and head home for the day. A man named Peru cheerfully wishes a colleague a good night and walks off all by himself. But from a distance, Yurin is watching him leave. He activates his special ability, the Creator's Eye, to analyze this Peru guy. A status window appears revealing Peru's traits: Poisonous Touch and Agile Movements. Poisonous Touch, a trait that lets him poison food. Bingo! Yurin knows this is the culprit. Now it's time for the real test. He aims his hand at the completely unsuspecting Peru. He activates his brand new skill, Paralytic Poison. A creepy, twisting green aura shoots from Yurin's hand, flying silently toward its target. The poison strikes. Peru grunts as it hits him out of nowhere. He collapses, clutching his stomach. My body, I can't move. He gasps. Yurin smiles from the distance. Success, he thinks to himself. He can even see the duration of the effect. It's a weak paralytic poison that will last for exactly 1 hour. With Peru neutralized, Yurin slings the poor guy over his shoulder and carries him away. Nothing to see here, folks. Night falls. Inside a small, dark building, Peru finally begins to stir. Yurin's voice cuts right through the darkness. Hey, snap out of it. Are you coming to your senses now? Holding a lantern, Yurin looms over him. You know who I am, right? He asks. Peru's eyes widen in absolute terror as he realizes he's been caught. With a chilling smile, Yurin gets straight to the point. If you want to live, you'll answer me. You're the one who poisoned my soup, right? In a dark storeroom, a man named Peru gets a very, very rude awakening. Our hero has some questions and lays down the rules for a little game. Blink once if it's correct and twice if it's wrong. Simple enough, right? Peru gives a single blink. Okay, good. He understands. Let's get this interrogation started. First question, and it's a big one. The one who poisoned my soup, it was you, wasn't it? And bam. A single damning blink confirms it. We got him, folks. He presses on, asking about the specific poison used. It was Hanyang herb, wasn't it? Another single blink. Correct again. This kid knows his stuff. All right, next question, and this is where the plot thickens. The one who ordered you, it was Marchioness Kaina, right? But hold on. This time, Peru blinks twice. Wait, it wasn't her? That's a twist. Our boy is not buying it. He whips out a dagger, telling him it would be best not to lie. This guy's got issues. He presses the blade to Peru's throat, warning him that lies will earn his throat a nice little cut. He asks again, much more intensely this time, was it Madame Kaina? Peru hesitates for a moment, then blinks twice again. He's sticking to his story. Definitely not her. The interrogator seems to believe him this time. If it's not Kaina, then who the heck could it be? He decides to put a pin in that mystery and pulls out a glowing white ball. Here, eat this. He shoves the ball into Peru's mouth, calling it paralytic poison. Peru gags as he swallows it down. The threat is simple and terrifying. From now on, you have exactly 1 month left to live. Without the antidote, all his internal organs will melt. Lovely. From now on, he's just another pawn on the board. Our psycho hero asks if he understands, a sinister smile plastered on his face. Peru is completely paralyzed with fear. He places a hand on Peru's head and suddenly a system window pops up. Weak paralytic poison has been released. With the paralysis gone, Peru can speak again. So he asks one more time, who ordered you to poison me? Finally, Peru cracks, revealing the true culprit. It was Knight Captain Karox Livingstone. Apparently, Karox, who is Kaina's older brother, ordered him to make the young master's death look like an illness. So Kaina isn't the final boss, but her brother is her accomplice.
Interesting.
With that sorted, he hands Peru a piece of paper. Peru is shocked to see it's a shopping list for more poisons. The young master knows Peru can get these from the black market. The order? Gather every one of those poisons and bring them to me. And the deadline is tomorrow night. No pressure or anything. Peru dares to ask why, but gets shut down immediately. Did I give you permission to ask questions? Ouch. Terrified, Peru agrees and is quickly told to get out. But there's one last, bizarre order. From now on, my soup must always be loaded with plenty of Hanyang herb. Got it? Yeah. Peru is just as baffled by that command as we are. Back in his room, the young master is ecstatic. The bluff worked perfectly. Turns out that so-called paralytic poison was just a harmless ball of dried leaves. My man bluffed a guy with a tea bag. But now it's time to get serious. He has to master his clan's martial arts because a terrifying event he wrote into this world is coming soon. Later, Peru returns as ordered, carrying the poisonous herbs he managed to find. The young master inspects the herbs, easily identifying each one: Hanyang herb, Yekropa, and wooden vein leaf. Peru is stunned by his knowledge. How does he know about such rare poisons? It's no big deal for our guy who can see all their attributes in his status window. The ultimate cheat sheet. He asks a pretty smart question. Why did Peru carry multiple poisons if one was enough to do the job? And we get a little science lesson. Peru explains that combining poisons can make them stronger and bypass resistance. So that's how it works. Intrigued, he asks Peru where he learned all this poison stuff. And here comes the tragic backstory. Sold to the Livingstone family at age 8, he was trained by a poison master. There were 20 other kids in the program, but they all died. He was the only one to survive. Yikes. Our hero figures Peru must have a special poison affinity trait. Seeing the man's resentment, he realizes he's found a very useful tool. Pleased with his new pawn, he dismisses Peru for the night. Good job, buddy. Now that he's alone, it's time to begin. A status window displays his skill, 10,000 Venom's Divine Energy. He picks up the poisonous herbs and just starts eating them raw. What a maniac. System alerts flood his vision, confirming he's absorbed the poisons. Gritting his teeth, Yurin channels the raw energy of the poisons through his body. He's pushing through the pain with one single goal in mind. Let's level up to stage 2. He meditates through the entire night, and as the sun rises, a new day begins. The next morning, his attendant Erin knocks and comes in to wake him up. But when she opens the door, she is completely stunned by what she sees. The young master is absolutely shredded. Erin cannot believe his eyes. What in the world happened overnight? And it's not just a physical change. A system alert confirms it. 10,000 Venom's Divine Energy has advanced to stage 2. He's also acquired a new martial art, the very cool-sounding Little Dragon Step. To top it all off, he's unlocked 3 new poison techniques: Delayed Toxin, Truth Serum, and Soul-Killing Smoke. What a haul! Yurin opens his eyes, a smug smile spreading across his face. The power-up was a massive success. Erin walks in, looking for the young master, but stops dead in her tracks. What in the world is happening here? But before she can even wrap her head around the scene, a smell hits her. A smell so foul it could gag a maggot. She gags, covering her nose as this purple, stinky aura literally radiates off of our boy Urine. My friend, this is biological warfare. Urine just scratches his head like nothing's wrong, while poor Aaron is turning a lovely shade of pea green. But Urine is chuckling. It's the classic cultivation trope. When you level up, your body expels all its impurities, and apparently, all of its smells too. He then has the audacity to ask Aaron if he should open a window. You know, to share the love with the rest of the estate. Aaron screams, absolutely horrified. She begs Urine not to unleash that unholy terror upon the world. She orders Urine to the bath. Not a suggestion, an order. A bit later, a freshly scrubbed Urine is walking with a very stoic Aaron. You can tell she's still traumatized. Urine can't help himself though. He lets out a satisfied little chuckle. He's feeling good about himself. And why wouldn't he? A system window pops up showing his brand new skill, Soryong's footwork. Level 1, baby. He's geeking out. It's the Tang family's footwork, a legendary skill from a Wujian novel. It's like getting a lightsaber from a loot box. He immediately starts practicing, weaving around with this goofy grin on his face. He looks absolutely ridiculous. Young master, Aaron calls out, finally having seen enough of this nonsense. He looks genuinely concerned, asking Urine why he's walking like a drunk. He's asking if our boy is feeling okay, but Urine just laughs it off. Haha, I'm fine. Don't worry, he says, completely oblivious to how weird he looks. He goes right back to his wobbly practice, leaving poor Aaron to sigh. The things this butler has to put up with. But Aaron is persistent. He's a good butler after all. He asks again, are you really okay? He reminds Urine they're heading to Training Hall 1, which is full of actual knights. You know, people who don't walk like they've had 10 drinks? Urine just smiles, radiating that main character confidence. I told you it's fine. He claims he just wants to see how the other knights train. Suier you do, buddy. We all know you're up to something. As they get closer to the hall, you can hear the sounds of pure effort echoing out. Grunts and yells fill the air. Inside, knights are going hard, swinging heavy practice swords. This is some serious grinding. Suddenly, 2 of them stop dead. They notice someone at the gate. Who's that? One of them asks. They recognize Aaron, the butler to the great young lord. No surprise there. But who is the absolute unit walking behind him? My friend the artist gave this man the full K-pop glow-up treatment, complete with flowers. The knights are just floored. Their jaws are on the ground. They've never seen such a handsome guy in the entire household. The whispers start immediately. Could that really be the young lord? No way. Just a month ago, the guy was built like a refrigerator. Urine just smirks. Oh, these poor clueless NPCs have no idea what's going on. Thanks to his new power-up, he can hear every single word they're saying. Aaron points out one guy training by himself. He looks like a trainee really putting in the work. She notes the kid's form is pretty good. He'll probably make junior knight soon. Aaron explains the guy is practicing the basic family sword stances, but that's when it hits Urine. That kid has cried. A main character from the novel Urine himself wrote. He's a future ally of the original protagonist. Urine never wrote about Cride's backstory. And to think he was here the whole time, how fascinating. He files that little nugget of information away. You can see the gears turning in his head. This is definitely a future opportunity. Anyway, back to the present. His eyes land on a group of 3 knights who are giving him some seriously nasty looks. A system window pops up, and yep, their affection levels are in the toilet. We've got hostile, murderous intent, and disgust. A lovely bunch. Urine's lips curl into a wicked smile. You guys, he thinks, are going to be my new test subjects. First up on the chopping block is Prolonged Poison LV1, and the lucky winner is the guy with the mohawk. Urine whispers, activate, Prolonged Poison. The knight just freezes. Huh? And then bam, he drops to his knees, clutching his stomach like he ate some bad tacos. His buddies rush over, asking if he needs to use the toilet. But he gasps, no, that's not it. This is way worse. The other knights are panicking now. We need to call a priest, they shout. But just as fast as it started, the pain is gone. Poof. The knight looks up, completely and utterly bewildered. His friends are furious. They think he's messing with them. I told you to use the toilet if you needed to, they yell. He swears it was real pain, but they're not buying it. Meanwhile, Urine and Aaron are just watching the chaos unfold. Urine decides it's time to up the ante. A mischievous smile spreads across his face. Fine. This time, he activates his next skill, Soul-Killing Smoke. This one causes fear and confusion. Their argument is interrupted by an ominous roar. They're now seeing a massive horned demon towering over them, and he lets out a scream worthy of an opera. Arin is completely baffled. She just watches as all 3 knights suddenly collapse, screaming for their lives. She asks what in the world is wrong with them, but Urine just laughs quietly. This dude is a menace to society. Each knight is trapped in his own personal nightmare. One sees a dragon, another sees a flaming skeleton. It's a party. The bald knight raises his sword, screaming his head off at an enemy only he can see. This is pure chaos. And then suddenly the illusion shatters. He looks around, dazed and confused. What just happened? Now all 3 of them are just standing there, pointing their swords at each other with absolutely no clue what's going on. Urine smirks. He decides that's enough testing for one day. You know, before they accidentally stab each other for real. Aaron, let's head back, he says, turning to leave. Aaron is completely caught off guard by this. Already? She asks. Urine glances back at the chaos and says, it's too noisy here. Let's go to Training Hall 4 instead. Just as they're leaving, a maid comes sprinting across the grounds, looking totally panicked. She's huffing and puffing, trying to tell them that a very important guest has just shown up out of nowhere. After a bit of nervous stammering, she finally spits it out. It is Lady Ilya Marcus. Oh boy. Yurin immediately knows he is in trouble. His terrifying fiancée is here, and poor Erin looks like she's just seen a ghost. He remembers this exact moment from the game. This is when she first started demanding to break their engagement. Of course, the original Yurin in all his glory just laughed in her face and refused. What a charmer. But our new and improved Yurin just lets out a heavy sigh. Looks like it's up to him to clean up this mess. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Ilya is stealing her nerves. Today is the day she finally dumps this guy for good. Right on cue, Yurin strolls into the room. She whips around, ready for a fight, but immediately freezes. Her brain just completely short-circuits. She is so flustered that all she can manage to ask is, "Who are you?" Yurin plays it cool, casually reintroducing himself. And folks, Ilya's mind is absolutely blown. She had heard the rumors about his weight loss, sure, but she never imagined it was actually true. How did he pull off this glow-up in less than 2 months? He just says he worked hard. Yeah, okay, buddy. Nobody's buying that lame excuse. He then smoothly explains that after she beat him up, he did some soul-searching. What a move, giving her all the credit. Ilya is immediately suspicious. She thinks he is just trying to pick a fight to get revenge. But then Yurin drops the ultimate bombshell. Bam! He gets down on one knee and she is completely stunned. He thanks her for beating some sense into him and apologizes for literally everything. He even tells her he will accept breaking the engagement. At this point, Ilya's brain has just blue-screened. Looking down at this brand new man, she can only ask the same question again. Who on earth are you? He introduces himself as the former scoundrel and apologizes one more time for good measure. Checkmate. Ilya is just standing there, trying to process what in the world is even happening right now. To be honest, none of this is his fault. The original owner was the scumbag. But he's doing this for one very important reason. See, Ilya has this trait called Sword Queen. She's not just a simple character, she's going to be one of the strongest warriors in the story. So the plan is simple. Even if they break up, he needs to make her an ally. Okay, Ilya tells him to get up, but she is still looking at him with total suspicion. He promises he is serious, but she is not having it. Swear it, she says. Her aura is insane, it's almost suffocating. She leans in and threatens to kill him herself if he ever breaks his word. Wait a minute. Yurin suddenly realizes something is very wrong. That is a line she is supposed to say to the main protagonist, not him. Anyway, he can't breathe, so he activates a skill of his own. 10,000 poisons Magneto Divine Arts? A powerful blue aura explodes from Yurin, pushing back against hers. Ilya is completely shocked. She cannot believe it. Her pressure, her ultimate move, was just completely nullified. With the pressure gone, Yurin confidently stands and swears his oath with some flowery background. Now look who is stunned and blushing. Ilya turns to leave, warning him that one more mistake means the engagement is off for good. Then she is gone. Yurin is just left standing there, completely dumbfounded. Wait a second, she did not break it off. Later, Ilya sits down with Yurin's father, the Marquis, who asks her what she has decided to do. She confirms that she will not be breaking the engagement, which leaves the Marquis absolutely stunned. He is just as confused as Yurin was and immediately asks her for a reason why. Ilya explains that she was curious if he had returned to the kind boy he used to be. Instead, she found a completely different person. Because of that, she has decided to trust him, just this once. Then her eyes narrow and she adds a chilling warning. If he ever goes back to his old ways, she will kill him herself. And the Marquis just bursts out laughing. He absolutely loves her spirit. What a family. Ilya declines his offer to stay. It would be too awkward, since she told her own father she was coming here to end things. She also turns down seeing Yurin again, claiming she does not want to disturb his training before promptly leaving. A little later, Yurin gets a summons to his father's office. The Marquis just stares at his son, looking completely and utterly bewildered. And there it is. The question of the day. Marquis Rox looks his son dead in the eye and asks, "Who are you?" Then he suddenly starts laughing and claps Yurin on the shoulder. Just a joke. You have really worked hard. He gets serious, asking if Yurin knows why he was summoned. Yurin guesses correctly. To begin my nightly training. The Marquis is impressed. He announces that it is finally time for Yurin to learn the legendary Rox family swordsmanship. But Yurin cuts him off, saying he has something to discuss. The Marquis looks confused, asking what he could possibly mean. His confusion turns to pure shock. Throwing arts? You want to learn throwing arts instead of swordsmanship? Yurin does not even blink, calmly confirming that is correct. Oh, this is going to be good. The Marquis absolutely loses it. That is not allowed. He roars, calling it a cheap trick used by common thieves. He goes on a tirade, lecturing Yurin that a crude dagger could not even dent a knight's armor, let alone a monster. Yurin calmly cuts through all the yelling with a simple proposal. Then let's make a bet. The Marquis is totally caught off guard. With a confident smirk, Yurin lays out the terms. Let's bet on whether or not I can catch a Borak with a dagger. The Marquis is not having it. He just scoffs at his own son. He calls Yurin's persistence nothing but useless stubbornness. He's like, listen here, kid. A real warrior needs an aura blade to even scratch a Borak. Even if you train for 100 years, your little knife-throwing hobby would be completely useless. But Yurin just flips the script on him. Well, if I'm so sure to lose, then you should have no problem taking the bet, right? The Marquis is fuming, but he falls for it. Fine. I'll use this bet to finally crush that spirit of yours for good. He then demands to know what Yurin is putting on the line for this little stunt. And the stakes are huge. If Urine wins, he gets to train his own way. If he fails, he's his father's puppet forever. Later that night, Urine is back in his room, totally celebrating. He actually pulled it off. He's just glad Eren hasn't snitched on his secret training. Now he just has to figure out how to actually pierce a borak's scales. His big brain solution? Eat some hidden poison herbs to get a last-minute stat boost. Just then, Eren enters the room. She's got a message from Daddy. The test is tomorrow at noon in Training Hall 1. Urine asks if she knows about the bet, and her answer is priceless. Not only does she know, everyone knows. She says the whole estate is roaring with laughter at his expense. She's explaining that everyone is betting on how badly he'll fail. He's literally public enemy number 1. Our boy looks crushed. He asks if everyone is actually coming to watch him get humiliated. Oh yeah, she says. The place is gonna be packed. He just realized this isn't a family squabble anymore, it's a public spectacle. But then something shifts. That psycho glint is back in his eye as he asks her, so what do you think will happen? And pauses for a moment and says, tomorrow is probably going to be the young master's day. She's a believer. And boom, a system window pops up. His poison arts just hit the 3rd star. Perfect timing for a power-up. The next day arrives and the training hall is a straight-up coliseum. It is packed to the brim with a roaring crowd. And there's our boy standing all alone in the middle of the arena, taking it all in. Up on his throne, the Marquis shouts down, all right, Urine, are you ready for this? Urine says he is, but he's gotta ask, dude, what is with the giant crowd? The Marquis plays dumb, saying he only told the magician, but he warns Urine not to embarrass the family. An old magician steps up to the plate, ready to cast the summoning spell. A magic circle lights up and Urine is totally geeking out. This is his first time seeing real magic. With a flash of light and a crackle of energy, something begins to take shape. And he is so excited. He is about to see a monster that he, the author, literally wrote into existence. The smoke clears and the system window gives us the details. It's a borak, a 150-centimeter tall ocean monster. The crowd is absolutely disgusted. They're all yelling about how hideous this thing is. But Urine, he is just fascinated. Wow, so that is what it looks like. And then we get the flashback. He literally made up this monster while eating sashimi because he had writer's block. He's even thinking it's kinda cute, you know, if you ignore the creepy arms and legs. But the cute off is over. The borak lunges, swiping at him with its fin. Whoops! Urine barely dodges, tumbling across the ground to get away. The crowd totally freaks out, including the Marquis. The monster turns for round 2, but Urine looks surprisingly calm as he assesses the situation. He's just thinking, this thing is not actually that fast. So he pulls out a dagger, ready to test just how tough those scales really are. And then, bam! A glowing target appears right on the monster's weak point, like a video game cheat code. Alright, let's give this a shot. Urine winds up for the throw. He channels his inner protag energy and lets the dagger fly with insane speed and precision. Swoosh! It hits the weak point, dead on. Bullseye. The monster's eyes roll back and it just collapses. Even Urine is shocked. It died in one hit? The entire stadium goes completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. The Marquis is just speechless. Then one person starts cheering and the whole place erupts. Everyone is chanting for the young master. Looks like he is not public enemy number 1 anymore. Urine just soaks it all in. A massive confident smile on his face. His dad is on his feet, pointing in total disbelief. Urine, how in the world did you do that? Urine's reply is legendary. I aimed well and hit the mark. The Marquis looks like he is about to have a stroke, but Dad of the Year refuses to accept it. He's screaming that it is impossible for a borak to die from one little dagger. Urine hits him with the ultimate comeback. Surely the great Marquis Rox is not about to break a promise, right? Then the magician speaks up. He says the dagger hit the one spot with no scales. The Marquis calls it pure luck, but Urine is not backing down. Luck, or skill, a bet is a bet. The old man is still trying to get out of it, demanding a do-over. Urine, completely done with this, says no. Okay, fine. So the Marquis makes another offer. If Urine wins again, he gets any one wish he wants. The catch? If he loses, it is back to sword training forever. Urine looks intrigued, and then the Marquis drops the bomb. The next opponent is not a monster, it is a knight. The Marquis lays down the challenge, and Urine, standing before this massive crowd, just coolly accepts. He's not just accepting, my friend. Our boy sees this as a golden opportunity. He's staring at the Knight Commander Karok's living tame. Yep, the dude who tried to poison him. Is this his chance to wipe the floor with that bastard's smug face? But he's thinking that it's best not to rock the boat for now. He can't have his poison supply disrupted. But the Marquis comes to the rescue. He says a fully fledged knight would probably be too much for Urine. Instead, he declares that Urine's opponent will be a training knight. He then asks if that seems fair. A training knight. You can see Urine's eye literally twitch. Dad smugly asks if Urine wants to pick a specific knight. Urine surprises him by immediately calling his shot. I'll go with Cried. Footsteps echo in the arena as a large, muscular man with a great sword strapped to his back jogs into the ring. Cried kneels before the Marquis. Cried, there's something for you to do, the Marquis announces. The big guy eagerly replies, yes, anything for my lord. The Marquis just points towards Urine. That guy, fix his bad habits. And Urine just gives a casual, friendly wave to his opponent. Cried is completely stunned, his eyes wide with disbelief. This is not what he signed up for. The Marquis senses his discomfort. What? Can't you do it? Cried snaps to attention. No, I'll do as you command. He turns to face Yurin, drawing his massive sword. Yurin smirks. Don't worry, Cried, I'll throw just 3 daggers. Only 3. If you block all of them, I'll let you win. Furious at his son's arrogance, the Marquis orders Cried, you need to thoroughly discipline him this time. And so the 2 opponents face each other in the center of the vast arena. From the stands, other knights start heckling Cried. Suddenly, a clear voice cuts through the noise. Young master, good luck. Yurin looks up, surprised to hear a woman's voice. He's overcome with emotion, and he actually starts drooling. My guy has never been cheered on like this before. He snaps out of it and turns to Cried. I'm ready, he declares. Cried confirms he is too. Yurin deftly spins a dagger between his fingers, a confident smirk on his face. But when he focuses on Cried, his system vision activates, revealing glowing targets all over the knight's body. Way more than there were on the Borak. He starts to sweat. Does this mean striking any of those points can kill him? But he can't kill him, he thinks as he throws his dagger, so he'll just throw it straight. The dagger flies forward in a blur of blue and white energy. Cried raises his great sword to block it. The impact is immense. Bam! Cried grunts as the dagger slams into his blade with incredible force. The force sends Cried sliding backwards several feet through the air before he even lands. The crowd is stunned. What was that sound just now? One man asks. Another mutters. It sounded like a cannon. The Marquis stares, speechless and sweating, as the tiny dagger clatters to the ground. He picks up the small blade, utterly baffled. Seriously, how can an ordinary dagger have that kind of power? Across the arena, Cried pants heavily, his massive sword trembling in his hands from the sheer force of that one blow. Yurin smirks. Did that loosen you up a bit? You understand you can't let your guard down, right? He pulls out a second dagger. Get ready. This time, I'll throw with full power. Cried braces himself, his body glowing red. Yurin thinks he's a main character level fighter. He won't die from this. Here I go. Yurin dashes forward, building momentum before unleashing the second dagger. The dagger shoots out like a missile, a direct shot of pure blue energy. Cried just manages to get his sword in front of him. The dagger slams into the greatsword, and with a deafening crack, the massive blade shatters into a million pieces. The crowd and the Marquis can only stare in utter shock at the unbelievable outcome. As the dust settles, Yurin stands victorious. Across from him, Cried is on one knee, panting and trembling, his greatsword destroyed. His hand, covered in scrapes and dirt, drops the broken blade. The Marquis watches, completely at a loss for words. The Marquis steps forward. Yurin, let's have a private talk. But Yurin isn't finished. The bet isn't over yet. Yurin reminds him, there's still one more dagger left. The Marquis recoils in absolute shock. As his father yells for him to stop, Yurin ignores him and turns to the kneeling Cried. Cried, lift your head, Yurin commands. Cried looks up, confused. Yurin presses him. Will you end it like this? Will a future knight accept such a half-hearted result? Cried stammers, unable to answer. Yurin continues, whether defeat or victory, finishing the battle is what makes a knight. With intense eyes, Yurin asks him again, Cried, will you give up like this? After a moment of hesitation, Cried finds his voice. Please give me a new sword. A powerful blue aura suddenly erupts from Cried's body. I, Cried, will not retreat like this, he roars. The crowd gasps. The Marquis can't believe his eyes. A training knight just now awakened his aura. Yurin smirks. It's just as he predicted. Cried's berserker's trait has manifested now that he's reached his limit. And Yurin is thrilled. Perfect. Now he can finally test out his advanced techniques. With his aura awakened, Cried is a completely different beast now, radiating raw power. He stares down Yurin with pure determination. Young master, please throw. The Marquis is losing his mind. An aura of this level is on par with a senior knight. He wonders how Yurin will handle this. But our boy just smirks. Good. Yurin pulls out another dagger, getting ready for the grand finale. He shouts, this time, and whips his arm back with a confident grin. Then he unleashes it. His secret technique, curved mountain. Cried just stares, completely baffled. What kind of trick is this? Thinking Yurin is just mocking him, he roars, are you playing around right now? And swings his sword. But just as his blade cuts through the air, the daggers elegantly swerve right around it. Cried and the Knight Commander can't believe their eyes. No, bam. One of the daggers changes its path and slams directly into Cried's shoulder. It wasn't a random hit, either. It precisely strikes a vital pressure point. Cried's face twists in pure agony. The pain is so bad he's literally drooling. He collapses to his knees, his massive sword clattering to the ground. The crowd doesn't get it. They think the throw was too slow. Even the Marquis is mad. Cried, stop exaggerating. Are you going easy on him? Oh, if only they knew. Yurin knows better. He accidentally put way too much internal energy into that throw. The pain must be excruciating. His father storms up to him. Yurin, you won the bet. We will talk later. And just like that, everything went according to plan. Look at that sly, satisfied smile. Meanwhile, Cried is still on the ground, groaning like he's about to pass out. Suddenly, a hand rests on his shoulder. It's Yurin. Wait a moment, Cried. Internal energy absorption. Cried's eyes shoot open. Oh, the pain. It's gone. He immediately bows to Yurin. Young master, thank you. Yurin just waves it off like it's no big deal. Then Cried starts apologizing. He admits he thought Yurin was just looking down on him. But now he sees it was a divine technique. Yurin must have been hiding his true power all along. He leans in and whispers, "Is some secret organization targeting the Marquis and his family? Is that why you've been hiding your power?" And it hits Yurin. Oh yeah. He wrote this character to be a massive conspiracy theorist. With stars in his eyes, Cried is now Yurin's #1 fan. "Young master, when you fight these secret organizations, just say the word. I'm with you." Yurin is floored. A system window pops up. Cried's affection is now at 26, firmly in the favorable range. Yurin just smiles awkwardly and decides to play along. Man berserkers are simple, and he loves it. As Yurin walks away, Cried starts preaching to the crowd about how the young master was never a scoundrel. Getting close to a future powerhouse like Cried is a pretty solid move. As he leaves the arena, Aaron approaches, holding a towel for him. "You worked hard," she says, her face as neutral as ever. Yurin thanks her. She notes that his final technique was something she'd never seen before. "Yes, that's a new one," Yurin says cheerfully. "How was it? Impressive, right?" Aaron admits she ran a simulation in her head. If she had faced it unprepared, she would have lost. But now, she says, turning away with total confidence, "I can block it." Yurin watches her go, his face serious. He knows she is not lying for a second. Among Aaron's traits is Clear Mind, a super rare ability that lets her analyze and adapt instantly. He tells her if she'd become a knight instead of his butler, she'd already be famous. He looks her right in the eye and asks, "Are you satisfied with how things are now?" And look at that. He actually flustered her. "What? Why are you suddenly saying such things?" Later on, the Marquis is sitting at his desk, deep in thought. Yurin arrives at his office. "My lord, did you call for me?" The Marquis explodes. "You brat. When we're alone, call me father. Be more affectionate to your dad." Yurin is taken aback but quickly corrects himself. "Ah yes, father. The irony is just too good." His father gets down to business, asking about that dagger technique. He searched every book and found nothing. He points out Yurin's only been training for a month. It's impossible to invent a move like that so fast. "What on earth happened? Tell me the truth." The interrogation begins. Yurin can't exactly tell him he's from another world. But lucky for him, he prepared an excuse. "I found a book," he begins, spinning the most ridiculous tale you've ever heard. He claims he was in the family library's attic, looking for books on training methods. Then he trips over a book lying on the floor and bumps into a shelf. That caused another book to fall from a high shelf, bonking him right on the head. He tells his father it was a strange book with no title, just an intricate pattern on the cover. Then, he opened the book. And a bright light came from it, and it felt like something was zooming into his head. After that, the mysterious book simply vanished into thin air. The Marquis's eyes widen. He's totally buying it. That means that book was a magic tome. Yurin lets out a small, satisfied smile. His ridiculous story is working perfectly. Of course he knows what a magic tome is. My friend, he's the one who wrote them into the story. The Marquis paces around, mumbling that the family library is so vast it's totally plausible. He turns back to Yurin, practically sweating with relief. "Finding that book was great luck for you." Yurin laughs cheerfully, hitting his dad with a finger gun. "Let's just say I hit the jackpot." Convinced, the Marquis stands up. "Right, a promise is a promise, so I won't tell you to learn swordsmanship anymore." He stops, turning back with a serious look. "And according to our other promise, tell me what you want." He takes a deep breath and drops the bombshell. "Father, I want the position of heir." The Marquis freezes, his face a perfect specimen of a shocked Pikachu face. "But wait, there's more. If that was my wish, you wouldn't grant it, am I right?" He gets all flustered, puffing out his chest. "It is my authority, so of course I will grant it." But look at Yurin's smug little face. He just points out how sweaty his dad suddenly looks. Yeah, if he became heir, it would cause chaos in the family. And yep, the Marquis flinches. He is already picturing his wife's terrifying face. Yurin, seeing he has him on the ropes, offers a compromise. Dad is practically begging for it. The Marquis lets out a nervous laugh, so grateful for the offer. But our boy Yurin is just playing him. Become the heir? Yeah, nah. That job means being stuck with Dad 24/7, drowning in boring lessons. No thanks. He would much rather be grinding on his Sichuan Tang skills and traveling the world. So the Marquis asks for the new wish. And Yurin's got one ready. He wants to create his very own personal knight order. Okay, now Dad is listening. He wants 2 starting members, his butler, Aaron, and Cried. The Marquis thinks it over. Hey, this is way easier than dealing with his wife. Plus, he agrees that Aaron's talent is completely wasted as a simple butler. He declares it done. And Yurin gives a respectful bow. But wait, new problem. If Aaron is a knight now, who is going to be Yurin's butler? Yurin has already got a guy in mind. Some dude named Peru from the kitchen. And he asks his dad to make it look like a coincidence. Just a random promotion, you know? The Marquis is totally lost, but Yurin just says he will explain everything later. Dad is too relieved to argue, and Yurin's plan is a complete success. What a little schemer. And boom, a system window pops up. Dad's affection level is now 74. His dad actually trusts him now. Yay. A bit later, Yurin addresses his new recruits. "From today, you two belong to my exclusive knight order." He tells them to get ready to train hard. Aaron and Cried look sharp in their new armor. Then he introduces the new butler, Peru, who looks like he is about to faint. Aaron just stares quietly. She remembers when she asked Yurin about him earlier. She wants to know why on earth he picked some random kitchen guy to replace her. And with his totally sheepish grin, Yurin just drops it. Oh, he is a spy. Aaron's brain just short-circuits. Yep, apparently he was sent by the Knight Commander and Lady Kaina to assassinate him. She is like, "So why is he your butler?" Well, He now only listens to me, he replies with an evil grin. Back to the present, Kryde has a question for his new young master. Yurin tells him to go ahead and spit it out. Kryde says their little two-person squad needs a leader to guide them. You know, a proper senior knight, someone with truly outstanding skills. Then he glances at Eren, calling her small and frail. Big mistake, buddy. Eren is not impressed. But Yurin just grins and totally agrees with him. He declares that the stronger knight absolutely should be the senior knight. So right now, you two fight it out. And the fight is over in like 2 seconds. Kryde is flat on his back, completely wrecked. Eren just calmly critiques his simple attack patterns and predictable moves. With a sword at his throat, Kryde sheepishly agrees to take her advice to heart. From the sidelines, Yurin makes it official. Eren is the new leader of the Night Order. Applause! He cheers, and everyone claps along. Go, Eren. As the sun sets, Peru says he is off to make dinner and walks away. Yurin watches him go, easily sensing his energy from a distance. He decides it is the perfect time to test a new technique, sound transmission, a classic martial arts technique. He focuses and sends a telepathic message that only Peru can hear. The poor guy jumps out of his skin and answers out loud, "Yes, young master? Peru, Peru." Yurin keeps calling while the poor butler freaks out. Peru clutches his head in absolute terror. Peru stammers, asking if this is some kind of black magic. Yurin just smiles. Black magic? Let's just call it communication magic. And Peru's brain goes into overdrive. The poison immunity? Now this? He thinks Yurin is a poison-commanding black magician. Yurin is loving this. Well, you can think whatever you want, he says. Changing the subject, he asks if the poison he ordered is finally ready. Peru confirms he got snake mind, a potent venom extracted from 100 different snakes. Casual? Good. Yurin grins. Now dump a generous amount of it in my soup tonight. Peru lets out a terrified shriek but immediately runs off to poison his master's dinner. What is this kid's deal? And so, as night falls over the estate, Yurin's unique training is about to begin. Sometime later, Yurin's eyes snap open, his intense training session finally over. He lets out a slow breath, feeling the effects of that 100 snake venom soup. He checks his stats. Since hitting 3 stars, this grind is taking forever. He gets up, looking out over the estate. He's thinking about the future world crisis he literally wrote into existence. He realizes he has no choice. It is time to leave the nest and get serious. And so Yurin marches right up to his dad and declares he's heading out for a while. His dad is a little surprised. It's been a while since his son has even seen the sun. Yurin just nods. So, how long will you be gone? His father asks. Meanwhile, Yurin is already planning a cross-country road trip in his head. Oh, just a week, he says. Totally not lying through his teeth right now. The Marquis seems fine with that, until he brings up the one thing Yurin wanted to avoid, the dreaded escort. Nah, I don't need one. Yurin blurts out, completely shocking his poor, overprotective dad. He reminds Yurin he is the eldest son of the powerful Rox family, not some random peasant. Yurin tries to laugh it off, saying it's just a nearby village. The Marquis goes full-on dad mode. Hey, don't you know how scary the world is? What if you get poisoned or something? The irony is just perfect. My dude literally chugs 100 snake venom for breakfast. Realizing he's not winning this fight, Yurin switches to plan B and agrees to take an escort. He tells his dad he'll leave in 2 days, giving him plenty of time to get the guards ready. But of course, back in his room, Yurin gets that psycho smirk on his face. He has zero intention of waiting. The plan is simple, he's gonna bounce off secretly tomorrow. First, he needs cash. So he goes to shake down his poor, terrified butler, Peru, for travel funds. He knows Peru has access to cash for buying poison herbs. Yurin just hits him with the dead-eyed stare and asks, "You don't want to?" And just like that, Peru folds like a cheap lawn chair, promising to lend him the money immediately. Then Yurin remembers something else. He saw Peru use one of those classic fantasy items, a spatial pocket. It's a tiny bag that can hold about a ton of loot. Basically, it's the perfect inventory system for a long journey. Poor Peru looks absolutely defeated as he agrees to hand that over too. Yurin grins, happy he won't have to carry a single thing. Smart, but also a total jerk. But before he leaves, Yurin has one last little gift for his loyal butler. He hands him a little leafy ball, calling it a dried leaf medicine, totally not fake. He explains that this is a month's worth of antidote for the poison. Then he flashes this charming, totally psychotic smile and tells Peru to keep up the good work. He even promises to give the full antidote in the future, which gives poor, manipulated Peru a glimmer of hope. The next day, bright and early, it's go time. Yurin's great escape is on. He leaves a note on his desk, throws on a cloak, and gets ready to sneak out like a pro. He strolls through the empty courtyard, feeling confident. It's so early, nobody's around. Suddenly, a voice calls out, "Good morning, young master." It's just the gardener, who seems a little surprised to see him up and about so early. Yurin plays it cool, but something about this old guy feels off. This seemingly harmless old man is hiding some hidden power. He's not just some gardener. Yurin activates his special skill, Creator's Eye, to get a better read on the situation. But after a moment, he just shrugs it off and continues on his way, finally leaving the estate behind. He's finally walking through the city, heading toward a massive clock tower in the distance. He looks up in awe. This is it, folks. His first destination, the Magic Tower. Inside, a guy in a robe asks him what he's here for. It's like a fantasy world's customer service desk. Yurin tells him he's here to use the warp gate to get across the continent. The receptionist even mentions a mileage program, and Yurin can't help but laugh. He's the one who wrote that feature into the world. When asked for his destination, Yurin gives a clear answer: Haz Castle. The receptionist calculates the distance and quotes the price: a whopping 50 gold. It's super pricey, but thank goodness he mugged his butler earlier. Time to sign, but definitely not with his real name. He uses his old gamer tag, Polian, and the receptionist leads him to the warp room. The instructions are simple: just walk in, and when you hear a knock, you've arrived. Yurin steps inside and is amazed by the massive glowing magic circle on the floor. A bolt of lightning strikes the tower, and in the very next instant, there's a knock at the door. You've arrived. Please come out. A brand new receptionist cheerfully welcomes him to Haas Castle. That was fast. Yurin is stunned. The teleportation was so smooth he didn't even feel a thing. The receptionist proudly boasts about their 5-star warp experience. Yurin is amazed. He doesn't remember writing this in the novel. Stepping outside, he finally gets a look at his new surroundings. Haas Castle. The city is bustling with people, and the vibe is completely different from back home. It's a whole new world. First thing on the agenda, find the blacksmith alley. He asks a local for directions. He wanders through the narrow, winding streets, searching for the place he wrote about in his novel. But after searching for what feels like forever, he still can't find the unicorn smithy, and it's already getting dark. Yurin finally reaches what he thinks is the very last alley. This has to be it. He hears it before he sees it. The rhythmic clang of a hammer hitting steel echoes from a nearby forge. Hearing his footsteps, the muscular blacksmith pauses his work. He calls out, "Are you there?" He turns around, wiping some sweat from his brow. "Ah, are you a customer?" Yurin gets straight to the point and asks if he knows of a place called the Unicorn Smithy. But the blacksmith's answer hits him like a truck. "As far as I know, there's no smithy with that name around here." Yurin's heart just sinks. Did he really mess up the details of his own story? But then the blacksmith adds, "However, that is the name I'm planning to use for my shop soon." Yurin immediately activates his special skill, Creator's Eye. He pulls up the stats on this blacksmith, Jiranox. The guy's got some decent skills, and best of all, he's already interested in our boy. A wide grin spreads across Yurin's face. Oh yeah, he definitely found the right place. He strolls up to the counter and asks Jiranox if he can check out the merchandise. And Jiranox is more than happy to show him around the shop. While he's browsing, Yurin starts making some small talk. "So, how's business?" Jiranox lets out a heavy sigh. Between the bad location and his so-called lacking skills, customers just window shop and walk away. He's worried he won't be able to keep the lights on for much longer. But then Yurin's eyes land on 2 swords hanging on the wall. And let me tell you, these things are no joke. His skill kicks in, revealing their true names. The Wind Spirit's sword and the Flame Spirit's greatsword, both rocking some seriously powerful effects. Yurin asks if Jiranox forged them himself. The blacksmith just laughs and says of course he did. But then he drops an absolute bombshell. He calls them failures. Yurin is completely floored. Apparently they came out so strangely heavy that even the strongest warriors can barely lift them. So naturally, nobody wants to buy them. Yurin just stares because he knows the truth. These swords are not failures. They're just waiting for a worthy user to unlock their true power. This dude Jiranox is a hidden gem and does not even know it. So Yurin grins and points. "I will take this one, and that one." Jiranox looks like he has just seen a ghost. "But they are failures?" The blacksmith stammers. But Yurin's not even listening, muttering these will make perfect gifts for Eren and Cried. But these swords are not the main prize he is after. He asks Jiranox if he has got any junk, severely rusted weapons lying around. Jiranox thinks it is a super weird request, but hey, the customer is always right. He pulls out a chest full of old scrap he was planning to sell for cheap. Yurin scans the pile of rusty loot, a little smile on his face. It's just as he had set up in the novel. He pulls out a plain-looking dagger. Jiranox is surprised, saying he did not even make that one. It was just gathering dust in the warehouse. Without missing a beat, Yurin says, "I will take this too." Seeing that Yurin only picked out the defective items, Jiranox makes him a deal. 2 gold for the swords, and he will toss in the rusty dagger for free. And look at that psycho grin on Yurin's face. He knows he is practically robbing this poor guy blind. When he becomes famous, these things are worth at least 200 gold each. But hold up. Suddenly, he gets an idea. Why take the weapons when you can bring the master himself? Since business isn't doing so well, he tells the guy to come work for him. Jiranox is completely taken aback. A job offer? Talk about out of the blue. He admits he has thought about closing down, but this is just so sudden. So Yurin decides it is time for the big reveal. He puffs out his chest. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am the invincible spear that protects the South. I am Yurin Rox of the Rox family." That name hits Jiranox like a ton of bricks. The Rox Marquis family? He immediately hits the deck, bowing his head to the floor. "My lord, I am so sorry. I cannot believe you came to this humble place." A little embarrassed, Yurin tells him to get up. "Nope, I'm fine right here. Please continue speaking, my lord," Jiranox says, face on the floor. With a strained smile, Yurin basically begs him to stand up. Once Jiranox is finally back on his feet, he asks the big question. Why would a noble lord want to hire a nobody blacksmith like him? Yurin spreads his arms wide. "Because of your incredible talent, of course." But Jiranox just waves his hand, saying he has no talent. He claims his master used to scold him every single day. Yurin is a bit shocked. He thinks to himself, geez, this guy's master must have been a real tyrant. He says he visited tons of smithies, but Jiranox's weapons have something special. They have care. He points out the meticulous knots on the handles. Jiranox is stunned, admitting that yeah, good knots are important so the weapon does not slip. Yurin declares that this level of care proves Jiranox has a special talent that is just waiting to blossom. Of course, he is totally pulling this out of thin air. But he is wondering, will it actually work? And it does. Jiranox declares, I will follow you. Yurin is one happy camper. Jiranox even adds that Yurin is nothing like the scoundrel he has heard about in the rumors. Yurin just laughs it off, if only he knew. Then, holding up that rusty old dagger, Yurin grins. All right then, time to show you something really interesting. He pricks his finger on the blade and chants the release command. Awaken, mystical artifact, Agnes. Boom. The dagger erupts in a blinding flash of light, unleashing a crazy amount of power that completely shocks Jiranox. Yurin just smirks. My friends, this is a legendary ego sword. This was supposed to be the original protagonist's loot. A system window pops up, asking if he wants to proceed with the soul contract. He smashes that proceed button. But instead of some epic transformation, the dagger just melts into a blob of golden goo. Then, a deep voice booms out. What? Wait a second. That is not how it is supposed to sound. Our boy was expecting a cute anime girl's voice, not this grumpy old man. The voice continues, who are you to make a contract with me? The spirit, Agnes, starts yelling that he has absolutely no talent. Yurin cannot believe what he is hearing. He figures it is probably just mad because it cannot sense any mana from him. Still, talk about a bad attitude. Agnes throws a full-on tantrum, whining about why some nobody got to make the contract. This is not a cute sword spirit, it is a spoiled brat. Finally, the spirit asks, anyway, how did you even know I was here? And how did you know my release spell? Yurin pulls out a classic bluff. He says he heard it from the Great Prophet, which is a convenient plot device he literally made up for the novel. Agnes immediately calls him out. Liar! Impossible! Why would the Great Prophet tell a useless person like you anything? When Agnes asks if he knows its abilities too, Yurin just hits him with a confident smirk. I know. Of course he knows. He is the writer. Agnes is a free-form weapon that can split into a main and secondary body. Each part can morph into whatever the user imagines. The original hero used it as a sword and shield, and the secondary part is basically a boomerang. It always comes back. But Agnes is not impressed. Ha! Then you must know you cannot even use me, right? It scoffs, pointing out that it only works with mana. It tells him to just give up. But Yurin just stares back, totally unbothered. King of chill. You are a bit noisy, aren't you? Yurin says, lifting his finger. The spirit screams as he forces it to transform. And just like that, it is a simple gold ring on his finger. Agnes starts complaining that his warm energy is melting it. Turns out his martial arts work just fine instead of mana. With that little problem solved, he turns back to the stunned blacksmith. All right, Jiranox, how much time do you need to pack up this place? Jiranox stammers that 2 days should be enough. So Yurin sets the meeting time. Noon in 2 days, at the castle's central park. Fast forward 2 days. Yurin is walking through the bustling city square, heading for their meeting spot. But he suddenly freezes, spotting a very unexpected face in the crowd. It's his fiancée Ilya, and looking just as shocked to see him. What? She thinks, wondering what in the world he is doing here. Hold on a minute. This scene feels very familiar to Yurin somehow. And then he gets it. This is how the hero in his story first lays eyes upon Ilya. But why is it him here now? The storyline is starting to change. Ilya hops off her horse and she marches right up to him, demanding to know what he's doing here. Yurin, trying to play it cool, just says he was looking for a blacksmith. She is not buying it for a second. His family literally employs dozens of blacksmiths already. He explains that he wanted to find a personal craftsman, someone just for him. If she knew he was coming, she would have been happy to help. But Yurin just smiles, telling her he already found the perfect guy. Right on cue, Jiranox comes sprinting over, totally out of breath and yelling for the young master. Jiranox asks if he kept him waiting, but Yurin just smiles and says he's perfectly on time. Yurin turns to formally introduce his new blacksmith to his fiancée, who also happens to be a captain. But he's cut off by a knight in full plate armor who demands to know who Yurin is. Ilya steps in to make the introductions. She introduces Yurin as her fiancé. Musk looks shocked to meet the infamous Yurin Rocks. He puffs out his chest and announces his full title, and it's a mouthful. Yurin gives him a polite little greeting, but on the inside, he's already judging this guy hard. Because Yurin knows exactly who he is. He's a minor character with a garbage personality that Yurin himself wrote into the story. He remembers the original scene perfectly. Musk was supposed to be bullying a mother and her kid in the street. Then the hero would step in, start a fight, and Ilya would have to break it all up. Classic trope. But the most important part was what came next. The hero would join Ilya's mission and save her life. With the original protagonist completely missing, Yurin knows he can't just let his fiancée die. So he turns to Ilya and casually asks where she and her knights are heading off to. She explains that orc raids are on the rise, so they're on a mission to scout them out and take them down. He looks at Ilya and tells her he has a little favor to ask. With a completely serious face, he says, "Let me come along too." Ilya is floored. She asks why in the world he'd want to tag along on a dangerous mission. He spins a story about wanting to get real combat experience and see her skills up close. She warns him that it's seriously dangerous, but he just gives her a confident smile. "It's okay, I may look like this, but I'm really good at running away." After a long pause, Ilya finally gives in. She turns to a shocked Musk and tells him to get them a horse. Musk immediately starts protesting. This isn't a field trip. They can't afford to babysit. He points out that Yurin and Jiranox have 0 mana, and the knights have no obligation to protect them. But Ilya shuts him down cold. She tells him it's an order, so he better follow it without complaining. Musk grumbles and agrees, but privately he's thinking maybe he should be the one in charge. As they wait, Ilya just stares at Yurin, a mix of total confusion and worry on her face. Soon, they're all mounted up and riding out of the city. Ilya tells him to stay close. Yurin just flashes a grin and tells a terrified-looking Jiranox to hold on tight. And with that, the whole group gallops away from the city walls and into the wild. Out in the field, Musk orders the knights to split up. They're to find the orc camp but not attack, just fire a signal flare. Ilya's group, with Yurin and Jiranox in tow, breaks off and heads in their own direction. As evening rolls in, a knight reports that the tracks are a mess and it's getting dark. He suggests they head back. Ilya agrees. It's too risky to keep searching in the dark, so they'll turn back for now. But just as they do, bam, a signal flare explodes in the twilight sky. Before they can react, another one goes off, and then another, and another. What is happening? Ilya asks for a count, and while a knight fumbles, Yurin calmly corrects him. There are 5. She wastes no time, ordering them to ride for the closest signal to the west, and they are off. When they arrive, Ilya pulls her horse to a dead stop, her face frozen in horror. The entire squad is dead. Their bodies are scattered across the ground in a gruesome display. One of her knights cries out. He points out that the victim's armor has been melted right off their bodies. Shaking off the horror, Ilya hardens her expression and orders them to the next flare in the south. The group gallops through the snowy terrain, racing against the fading light. But when they arrive, it's the exact same nightmare. More dead soldiers, another fallen squad. A knight urges her to keep moving, but just as she's about to agree, Yurin butts in. No, we shouldn't move right now. Ilya whips around, staring at him in utter disbelief. Who does he think he is? He cuts through the chaos and lays out the grim reality. The orcs are picking them off one by one, and their only hope is to regroup. But of course, there's always one guy who isn't having it. He explodes at Yurin, shouting, "Stop interfering, what do you know?" He points at Yurin, blaming our boy for this entire mess. What an idiot. Yurin winces. He's having a PTSD flashback to writing this exact scene and getting flamed by his readers for it. Oof, I felt that. As the soldier keeps running his mouth, Yurin decides he has officially had enough. With just a flicker of his internal energy, he sends the knight flying straight off his horse. Get yeeted, son. Ilya tries to stop it, asking at Yurin to release him. Yurin glares down at the fallen knight. Know your place? Got it? The soldier, now trembling on the ground, can only stammer out, "Yes, please." With that sorted, Yurin turns back to Ilya. In the original story, she didn't listen to the MC's advice, but now he decides to leave the decision to her. And what do you know? It actually works. Ilya admits he's right, and that she wasn't thinking clearly. With a new sense of purpose, she gives the order, "Fire a blue signal flare right now. Gather our forces here." A bright blue flare streaks across the sky, exploding in a brilliant flash of light. It's go time. As they wait, Jiranox approaches Yurin, totally amazed. "Young master, you made them bend to your will." Yurin just plays it cool. "It's nothing. Yeah, right, you little manipulator." Jiranox assumes that with the troops gathered, they'd be able to win, right? But Yurin's dead silence tells a much darker story. He breaks the bad news. Most of the soldiers aren't coming. Karuta has probably already taken care of them. Who is he? I don't know either. Jiranox's face goes pale. Well, what are we waiting here for? Yurin just smiles and says, "Real combat." Suddenly, a scout comes sprinting towards them, screaming for the captain. The guy is completely panicked. "Run. We need to run." Ilya is confused. What? Before he can explain, the ground starts to shake. Uh-oh. And there they are. Spilling out of the tree line is a massive, terrifying horde of orcs. Ilya and her knights are frozen in shock. Their numbers. There are too many. She turns to Yurin, apologizing that he's about to die because of her mistake. But Yurin just smiles calmly. "It's okay. We won't die here." While Ilya questions his sanity, Yurin strides confidently toward the approaching horde like an absolute Chad. "Agnes," he calls out, "let's try what we practiced these past 2 days." He commands his sword to create black iron bullets. A small metal orb materializes right above his finger. This was a move he unlocked when his poison skill leveled up. It's called Black Iron Explosion. "Take this." Yurin flicks the orb forward with incredible force. Time for a little field test, I guess. The tiny projectile zips through the air and lands on an orc's axe. The orcs barely have time to register what happened before the orb erupts in a massive fiery explosion. The blast rips through their ranks, sending orc limbs flying everywhere. It's a real party now, folks. Yurin stands amidst the carnage, completely calm as he calls the little orb of death back to his hand. He even chuckles to himself, pleased with how perfectly Agnes's return ability syncs with his new skill. It's reusable. The surviving orcs roar in fury and charge again, so Yurin just launches another explosive shot right back at them. Ilya watches in disbelief as he casually catches the orb again. "It's called Black Iron Explosion," he says with a grin. "I'll explain later." Snapping out of her shock, Ilya realizes Yurin has just given them a fighting chance. "What are you all doing?" she yells to her knights. "Look, we can win. Now's our chance." Inspired by the one-man army, she leads the charge, her knights right behind her, clashing with what's left of the orcs. The battle is fierce, with steel ringing and blood flying as the knights finally start earning their pay. Suddenly, a charging orc lets out a surprised grunt as he bumps into something massive. From the shadows, a new challenger enters the arena. Ilya freezes, her eyes wide with terror. What is that ridiculous thing? Towering over them is a monstrous red-skinned orc warrior, holding a smaller orc's corpse like a squeaky toy. Yurin watches with a grim expression. The legendary orc warrior, Karuta, has finally appeared. It's the boss fight, folks. He knows that if they can't take this guy down today, it is all over. Game over, man. And just like that, Karuta lets out a monstrous roar. Boom! The shockwave alone sends Ilya and her poor knights flying backward. He doesn't even pause for a monologue. The giant orc just swings his massive blade and charges straight in. He then leaps into the air like a freaking rocket, aiming to turn Ilya into a pancake. Ilya's brain finally catches up, thinking I should move, but it is too late. Luckily, Yurin yanks her out of the way at the last second. Why were you just watching? He yells at her. And boom! The sword slams down right where she was standing. Yurin shouts back the obvious. You almost died, but she is just too stunned to even process what just happened. She finally looks around and realizes all of her knights are out cold. One hit and the whole squad is down. With a small fry dealt with, Karuta turns his gaze to Yurin. The boss has found his next target. But Yurin doesn't even blink. He just throws his hand forward and yells out his special move, Black Iron Explosion. A little ball of crackling energy zips out and smacks the orc right in the pecs. And boom! It goes off in a huge fiery blast. But as the smoke clears, nothing. Not a single scratch. Yurin's face just drops. The dude looks genuinely shocked. He is thinking, it is not working? Bro, you wrote this guy. He knows their skin is like steel, but I guess seeing it in glorious HD is different. Meanwhile, Ilya sees her fallen comrades and gets a rage boost. How dare you harm my men? She sees this. She screams, unforgivable, and her sword starts glowing with that classic protagonist aura. And with that, she launches herself straight at the orc warrior. Round 2, fight. She is an absolute blur, unleashing a storm of slashes with insane speed. And she connects. A clean slash across the orc's face draws first blood, making the beast howl in pain. Karuta swings back, but Ilya is too quick. She is moving so fast she is leaving after images. Her soldiers and even Juranox are just watching in awe, cheering her on from the sidelines. Even Yurin is impressed. He is thinking her Sword Empress's trait is totally overpowered for this early in the story. She is actually pushing the boss back. Her glowing sword is now actually cutting through that steel-like skin and even chipping his armor. The tide is turning. But oh no, pissing off the boss just activates his second phase. Karuta roars and a blood-red aura explodes from his body. Ilya is stunned, an orc using aura. Yep, this is not your average dungeon mob, my friend. Now supercharged, Karuta swings his blade and unleashes a massive wave of crimson energy. It slams right into Ilya, sending her flying backward through the air. And just like that, Ilya is defeated. Yurin just watches, knowing this was exactly how it was supposed to happen in his novel. Her knights rush over to her side, but it is clear she is seriously injured. So much for that power-up. She grits her teeth in frustration, admitting defeat. We cannot win. We have to run. But then Yurin steps up again. He just calmly pulls out a shiny golden dagger. It is his turn to play. He gives the beast a death glare and unleashes his move, Direct Shot. But Karuta has got insane reflexes, swatting the dagger out of the air like it is a fly. Yurin does not even look surprised. This was all part of the plan, folks. Then, Karuta pauses. He looks down at his shoulder and... what is this? There is another dagger stuck in a crack in his armor. And before he can pull it out, kaboom! The dagger explodes and the orc screams in agony. A nasty black liquid starts dripping from the wound. Yep, that is poison all right. Yurin gets all smug. The first dagger was just a distraction. You were too busy blocking that one to see the real attack, weren't you? He keeps rubbing it in. Your skin might be steel, but you have got some weak spots, huh? Turns out his special ability showed him a weak point in the cracked armor, like a video game weak spot. Okay, now Karuta is absolutely furious. He roars and charges straight at Yurin. But Yurin is on another level now, easily dodging the wild swing and flipping right over the orc's back. Very stylish. He even has time for another taunt. Where are you going? And boom, another dagger on the orc's back goes off. Yurin is just loving this. You mad, bro? I am not gonna just stand here and let you hit me. Suddenly, the orc's attention shifts and it's now on Juranox. Hey, Yurin shouts. His smug face turns to pure panic. He screams no. Uh-oh, what's happening now? Karuta leaps high into the air, sword ready for the final blow on Juranox. Oh shoot, he's gotta save his blacksmith. He dumps all his energy into his movement skill, small dragon step, and hits the boost button. And just like that, he's a flash of golden lightning, blurring across the battlefield faster than the eye can follow. Karuta's massive sword slams down, right into the empty ground. He missed completely as Yurin just zipped right past him. The impact creates a huge crater, but our boy is already long gone. Karuta looks around totally confused. Even Ilya is staring in absolute disbelief at the speed she just witnessed. And there he is. Yurin reappears, having snatched Juranox out of harm's way in the blink of an eye. He faces Karuta and says, let's end this now. It's time to call out the big guns, his ego sword, Agnes. The weapon transforms into a blood flower butterfly, the highest grade hidden weapon of the legendary Sichuan Tang family. He unleashes it with a curved shot, sending the glowing butterfly fluttering right towards the orc warrior. Ilya is completely mesmerized. Ah, beautiful, she whispers. Girl, it's about to explode. Karuta just grunts, totally confused by this sparkly, harmless-looking attack. He swipes at the butterfly, but it quickly dodges. Then, it just gently lands right on his chest. How cute. Then it begins to glow with a blindingly intense light. Karuta lets out one final agonizing scream as it detonates. Kaboom. When the dust settles, the aftermath is devastating. Both Yurin and Ilya are completely stunned. Even Yurin can't believe it. He knew it was powerful, but he never expected it to punch a hole straight through the orc's chest. Seeing the massive warrior finally fall, the knights start to celebrate. He fell. We won. But Ilya snaps them right back to reality. Not yet. There are still a few small fries left. With newfound resolve, she rallies her troops to finish the job. Let's finish them. Giranax thanks Yurin profusely for the save. And of course, Yurin has his smug little smirk back, satisfied with his first real battle. Later that night, Yurin goes to check on Ilya, asking if she's hurt. She admits she's not fine, but since he did save her life, she figures she can't really complain. Yurin brushes it off, then decides to finally answer a question she asked him earlier. I learned hidden weapons, not swords. Ilya is confused, asking if he just means daggers. He clarifies that both the exploding ball and the killer butterfly are considered hidden weapons. Ilya is just speechless, totally shocked that something besides a sword could be so powerful. Yurin hopes this experience broadens her perspective, especially since she's a bit of a sword snob. Just then, a knight reports the magic pouch is ready. Ilya says they need to take Karuta's head as proof. With a powerful swing, she decapitates the orc warrior. Brutal. She impales the massive head on her sword. One of the knights actually worries about getting the magic pouch dirty. Ilya has to reassure them, saying the pouch was literally made for storing gross enemy heads, so it's fine. With their gruesome trophy secured, Ilya announces it's time to head out. The group gets on their horses, ready to leave, but Ilya is suddenly interrupted by an approaching rider. It's Musk, and Ilya is not happy. She demands to know where he was when the signal flare went off. Musk nervously claims his squad went too far, got ambushed by orcs, and was delayed fighting them. Ilya presses him, asking why only 2 of them returned. Musk says the rest of his soldiers were wiped out. Her suspicion is through the roof now. She demands to see the corpses. Musk tries to stall, but she screams, "Guide me there right now." Looking defeated, Musk sighs and agrees to explain where they are. But it's a trap. He suddenly pulls a dagger and lunges straight at Ilya. Before he can even strike, 2 of Yurin's daggers fly through the air, piercing his hand and wrist. Musk screams in agony and tumbles right off his horse. Nice shot, Yurin. Yurin calmly calls him out. Did you think I'd be fooled? You fought orcs, but there's no green orc blood on you, only red human blood. He accuses Musk of colluding with the orcs and leaking information. All Musk can say is, how the heck did you know? Of course. My dude, he wrote this whole novel. Hearing the truth, Ilya draws her sword, her face grim. Musk desperately pleads for his life, but Ilya just scoffs. She is not having it. With a furious cry, she cuts the traitor down. Then she orders her knights to capture the other one alive. The next day, back at Haas Castle, Giranax is trying to wake up a sleeping Yurin. Young master, wake up. It's almost lunchtime. Yurin groggily opens his eyes. Giranax announces that a very important guest has come to visit, Lady Ilya. Yurin turns to see Ilya, now in a beautiful black dress, smiling and asking if he slept well. And our boy is completely stunned. His jaw is on the floor with a tiny bit of drool. Our boy's brain finally reboots and he points at Ilya, asking what in the world she's wearing. She just turns and says with total confidence, Yurin, let's go to my house. And all Yurin can manage is a very confused, what? Ilya explains that her dad insisted she'd bring him over, no matter what. So is he coming or not? Yurin just stares, thinking she really is the world's greatest beauty. He stammers out that of course he'll go. He realizes this was supposed to be the protagonist's big moment. Ilya smiles, saying she'll wait outside while he gets ready. The second she's gone, he pulls up the stats menu. Her affection jumped to 45. We are officially in the favorable zone, people. After changing into something a bit more presentable, Yurin meets Ilya in a long, sunlit hallway. He gives a little wave, asking if she waited long. Then he says, let's go. As they walk outside, a huge crowd starts cheering. They recognize Ilya as the Iron Blood Knight. The whole town is celebrating her for taking on that orc warrior. They're shouting, long live the Iron Blood Knight. Yurin smiles. Yep, she earned the exact same title as in the novel, all for staring death in the face and not backing down. But then someone in the crowd points at him. A group of girls recognize him as Steel Mage Yurin. Now people are thanking the Steel Knight, and Yurin is completely shocked by his new nickname. He figures the soldiers who survived must have spread the story, thinking his powers meant he was some kind of mage. Ilya smiles and thanks him again very sincerely for saving her life not once, but twice. Yurin just laughs it off like it's no big deal, saying it was the natural thing to do. Then Ilya's whole mood shifts. She tells him she went back to the battlefield that morning to collect the bodies. She remembers the horrific sight of her fallen soldiers scattered all over the forest. And that memory makes one thing crystal clear. If he hadn't shown up, she would have ended up just like them. Yurin listens quietly as she clenches her fist, a new fire in her eyes. She declares that she's going to train harder, get stronger, and rise above everyone so she is never defeated again. Yurin knows this is it. This is the turning point where she begins her real growth, leveling up into the warrior worthy of her Sword Empress trait. Ilya explains her dad called the family mages to whip up a warp circle for them, and with that, she says, Now, let's go. The mages start chanting, their staffs glowing with some serious magical energy. Whoosh! A brilliant flash of light swallows them up, and just like that, they're gone. They reappear in a totally new place. Yurin and Juranox look like their brains just got scrambled by the sudden teleport. They've arrived at the Marcus family mansion, which is absolutely enormous. Ilya welcomes them to her humble abode. Juranox is completely blown away, asking if Yurin's house is this fancy. Meanwhile, Yurin is just trying not to throw up from motion sickness. A little later, Yurin is getting fitted for a formal white coat. He's thinking he's finally about to eat some real noble food. He's only been eating Tyrene soup over at his place, but not today. Today, he gets a proper feast. He walks into a grand dining hall where a man with a very impressive mustache sits at the head of the table. Yurin gives a formal greeting to Marquis Marcus, who just tells him to chill out and have a seat. The Marquis starts off by saying he needs to offer his thanks first. With a slight smile, he sincerely thanks Yurin for saving his daughter's life. Yurin plays it cool, saying it was nothing, just what anyone would do. Sure, buddy. Just then the chef brings out the main course. Yurin's eyes are practically sparkling with anticipation. The lid is lifted to reveal the Marcus family's special Tyrene soup. You have got to be kidding me. The Marquis explains it's a family tradition, just like at Yurin's home. Yurin's face just falls into complete despair. He forces a smile and thanks him, muttering that if he can handle poison, he can handle this stuff. As Yurin takes a reluctant bite, the Marquis casually asks, "So when are you thinking of getting married?" Yurin freezes mid-chew. The Marquis clarifies, "Marriage with our Ilya," which makes her blush and yell, "Dad." Yurin immediately thinks it's a test. He checks the Marquis' status and sees an affection level of -10. Weak dislike. Ouch. He realizes the affection must have been way lower before, so this is an improvement. Okay, he knows exactly what to say. "I want to get married right now." Ilya is so shocked she can only sputter out, "Hey you." But then Yurin explains he hasn't even become his family's heir yet and still needs to fix his terrible reputation. He promises to change and become a man worthy of Ilya. Once he's the official heir, then he'll marry her. Ilya is completely speechless, just staring at him with wide eyes after that bold declaration. The Marquis is skeptical. He points out that Yurin's brothers are certified geniuses. "Are you saying you can beat them?" Without missing a beat, Yurin looks him dead in the eye and says, "Of course." This makes the Marcus burst out laughing. He loves the confidence. "Good, I'll support you." He then mentions that he already got a message from Yurin's father, Willington, before they even arrived. Yurin is shocked. Someone must have used communication magic to get the news to his dad that fast. He asks what his dad said. The Marquis explains that Wellington wants to talk later and offers to show him to the communication room after dinner. Yurin smiles and thanks him for the offer. Very convenient. As dinner ends, Yurin notices Ilya is still sulking. Oh well, at least he made a good impression on her dad. Later, they head to a special room where a mage starts up a communication spell to connect to the Rocks family. A bright light flashes from the crystal ball, projecting the face of his father, Marquis Willington Rocks. "Yurin?" he asks, surprised. Yurin gives an awkward hello, which is met with a furious shout. "Yurin, Yurin, you rascal." But just as fast, the anger disappears, replaced by concern. "Are you hurt anywhere?" After Yurin says he's fine, his father gets right to the point. "Is it true you saved Ilya and killed the orc warrior?" Yurin tries to play it down, acting like it was just a stroke of luck. "Well, I was lucky, so it turned out that way." His dad isn't buying it. "Oh, luck? We'll hear the details when you get here." "When are you coming home?" Yurin tells him he'll be back in 2 days. Around the day after tomorrow." His father agrees, but then adds an order. "Good then. Bring your brothers with you when you come." Yurin's face just drops. A little while later, the Marquis is pretty bummed that Yurin is leaving so soon. He tries to convince him to stay a bit longer, but Yurin has to turn him down. He puts on his best poker face and lies that his father gave him a super important mission. The Marquis totally buys it, even offering to let him use the family's private warp gate for a quick trip. Yurin just laughs it off. "Yeah, that's gonna be a no from him, dog." He says he needs to train on the journey back home, that a true warrior doesn't take shortcuts. So noble, right? Marquis Marcus is completely blown away by this new, motivated Yurin. He's totally eating it up. He tells Yurin he can't wait to see how strong he becomes in the future. Yurin catches Ilya smiling at him. Looks like his little speech actually impressed her. But let's be real, folks. He has a much bigger reason for turning down a free teleport. The next day, our dynamic duo sets off on their grand journey. Juranox is immediately confused. Young master? The capital is the other way." Yurin just gives him a smug little smirk. "We've got a detour to make first." He points to a massive mountain range in the distance. "That's the dragon's lair, isn't it?" Juranox asks if they're going there to make a wish, like all the other tourists. Yurin's grin turns sinister. "A wish? Don't be silly. We're going to claim a treasure." He's after some sweet, sweet loot that only he knows about. He wrote it in, after all. When they arrive, the place is packed. Juranox starts to worry. With this many people, any treasure would have been found ages ago. But Yurin just scoffs. "My friend, that is the fake dragon's lair." He tells Juranox that the world is full of secrets and leads him to a hidden path around the mountain. After what feels like forever, Juranox is totally wiped. "Young master, there's nothing out here." But Yurin has found it. The entrance he designed, which for some reason is a car door handle. "Seriously, dude?" He quickly checks to make sure the coast is clear, then grabs the handle like he's opening a minivan. With a heavy grinding noise, a whole section of the mountain starts sliding open. Giranox's jaw hits the floor. Impossible, he stammers as a dark cave is revealed. Yurin just grins. All right, let's go, and casually strolls into the darkness. Then, with a loud rumble, the stone door slams shut behind them. No turning back now? Inside, Giranox is amazed by how bright it is. He immediately spots some shiny gemstones. But as he reaches for one, Yurin screams, "Don't touch that, it's a trap." Yurin explains that touching the gems would have turned the entire cave into a giant oven, roasting them alive. Giranox is officially terrified and agrees to stick to Yurin like glue from now on. They venture deeper, finally reaching a dead-end room with nothing but a stone altar. Giranox looks around completely baffled. It's empty in here. Yurin reveals the big secret: the fake dragon's lair is just on the other side of this wall. Those people outside are basically praying to them right now. With that little mind-blowing reveal out of the way, Yurin finds a hidden handle under the altar. The top of the altar slides away, revealing a secret compartment. Giranox can't believe his eyes. It's stuffed with bags overflowing with gold coins. But Yurin isn't interested in the cash. He reaches past the gold for a small blue box. This is the real prize. He opens it to reveal a glowing orb, the Warrior's Jade, a legendary item that lets you respawn. Talk about OP. With the main quest item secured, he tells Giranox to go ahead and grab all the gold. Their next stop is the Tower of Magic, where they can finally find a warp gate. But as Giranox chatters away, Yurin suddenly freezes. He feels a powerful, chilling presence nearby. He quickly activates his Eye of the Creator to scan the area for threats. His eyes lock onto a mysterious woman in a dark, hooded cloak, radiating an insane amount of power. No way! It's a character who isn't supposed to show up for ages. The plot is going completely off the rails. Yurin starts sweating bullets. He can't believe it. This woman's power level is off the charts. He knows instantly. At his current level, she's an enemy he has absolutely zero chance of defeating. Every instinct in his body is screaming at him to run. Forget the warp gate, it's time to get out of here now. With zero hesitation, Yurin grabs his blacksmith and screams they have to book it to Haas Castle. Now, Giranox is totally lost, but Yurin pulls out the lamest excuse in history. I'm hungry. As they hurry away, the hooded figure turns to look at them curiously. A little later, after somehow surviving that encounter, Yurin is brooding in his in-room. Time for some classic protagonist pondering. He's thinking that something is seriously wrong here. That woman was a late-game boss. What was she doing showing up so early in the story? She is supposed to be after the same legendary loot he just snagged, but it doesn't happen until later. He pops open the box with the Warrior's Jade. Something must have changed the story's flow. He doesn't even know where the story's actual main character is right now. The whole plot has been completely derailed. So what does our boy do? He decides to eat the legendary artifact. You heard me. He's just gonna eat it. He swallows it, and bam! His whole body lights up like a Christmas tree. Time to absorb that sweet, sweet XP. And just like that, a system window pops up. It announces a full body evolution. Let the grinding begin. This power-up is a game changer, but he knows he needs to level up even faster. The light show ends and Yurin opens his eyes. He's got that classic post-power-up glow. You know the one. Jackpot! The system announces he's unlocked the Heavenly Martial Body trait. It's a legendary drop. For those of you who don't know, this is a top-tier trope. It's basically a cheat code that lets him copy any move he sees. Totally balanced. He feels amazing. Right on cue, Giranox knocks on the door, probably wondering about all the noise. Giranox walks in to talk about breakfast but freezes. He's staring at Yurin like he's seen a ghost. He yells that Yurin somehow grew taller. Overnight, puberty hit him like a truck, I guess. Giranox is dead serious, using his blacksmith's precision eye. You were 178 centimeters. Now you're 182. Yurin just rolls with it. A sudden growth spurt is just another perk of his new cheat code body. On to the magic tower. Inside, they hit up the front desk. Yurin gets straight to the point. He needs to use the warp gate. The receptionist asks where to, and Yurin tells her they're heading for the capital. But nope, it's not that easy. Turns out you need a VIP pass to warp to the capital, pesky royal family security. Yurin sighs. The joys of high society. Time to pull the "do you know who I am" card. He puffs out his chest and declares, I'm Yurin Rox, eldest son of the Marquis Rox family. Classic. And just like that, the nearby mages start freaking out. The Steel Mage? Yep, his reputation precedes him. Our boy gets swarmed by his new fan club who all want to know about his exploding iron balls. Suddenly, a powerful voice booms through the crowd, telling the fanboys to chill out. Who's this now? An old mage shows up, apologizing for the chaos. Yurin, of course, has no idea who this grandpa is. He introduces himself as Yubion, the head honcho of the Magic Tower. And Yurin's face just drops. Oh, he knows this guy. He's a character Yurin created for fun. Looks like a kind grandpa, but is secretly a merciless serial killer. A character he never even put in the main story. Yurin's luck is just the worst. He's collecting psychos like Pokemon. Creepy Grandpa Yubion offers to warp them personally from his private room. This isn't suspicious at all. But right before they leave, Yubion flashes this super creepy smile. I have a feeling we'll meet again. Yurin just smiles back, thinking, yeah, let's not meet again, Gramps. A flash of lightning and poof, they're warped out of there. Good riddance. They land safely in the capital, where a new attendant greets them. Giranox is having a total country mouse in the city moment. He's blown away by all the fancy buildings and clothes. Yurin just smirks and tells him to go on a shopping spree with the gold they have. Garanox claps back, pointing out Yurin isn't exactly a fashion icon himself. Soon they arrive at the massive Royal Knight Academy. A guard stops them at the gate, asking what they want. Yurin says he's just here for a visit. Yurin confidently tells the guard he's here to see his brother, Colin Rocks. Suddenly, someone comes out from the shadows asking, Yurin Rocks? And speak of the devil, a handsome silver-haired guy appears. You just know he's an important rival. Yurin just stares him down. Yes, I am Punct Apostrophe. He asks if Yurin is the one who took down the orc warrior. The rumors are spreading faster than a meme. Then he hits him with a condescending smirk. Then I guess you must be somewhat strong? Oh, and that right there? Them's fighting words. You do not say that to an MC. Yurin's just standing there like, wait a second, why is this guy talking to me like we're old drinking buddies? So he politely asks, excuse me, but who are you? And Silverhair hits him with the classic, do you know who my father is? Intro. He's Karik Elion, the second son of a duke. He also mentions he's friends with Colin, which suddenly makes the attitude make a whole lot more sense. Karik then eagerly offers to guide Yurin straight to his brother. How suspiciously nice of him. Yurin's danger senses are tingling. He tells Duranox to wait here. Good call, my dude. As they start walking, Karik immediately starts fishing for information. He brings up the rumors about Yurin and Lady Ilya taking down that orc warrior. He's like, yeah, everyone knows Ilya is a beast, but you? Nobody saw that coming. He then tries to pry, asking if Yurin is secretly some kind of powerful mage. Yurin just shuts him down flat. Nope, not a mage. No explanation, just a denial. But Karik just gives him this smug little smile like he knows something Yurin doesn't. He just says, shall we continue? Leaving our boy totally confused. Yurin's internally screaming, what is with this guy's creepy smile? Suddenly, Karik stops and announces, we're here. Surprise. It's a training ground full of knights. The other knights greet him asking if he's back already. Karik then pretends to ask if anyone has seen Colin, which puzzles the knights. One of them immediately outs his entire plan, reminding Karik that he just took Colin to the professor. The realization hits Yurin like a ton of bricks. This dude literally led his brother away just to set him up. Karik then announces Yurin to the entire squad as the guy who beat the orc warrior. And there's Yurin, standing in the middle of a circle of armored dudes staring him down. Karik grins. Since Yurin isn't a mage, he must be a physical fighter, just like them. He starts listing off Yurin's rumored gear, daggers, iron balls, and butterflies. The skepticism is practically dripping off him. So, since everyone is so curious, he suggests that Yurin give them all a little demonstration. Yurin finally gets it. This whole thing was a setup to publicly humiliate him. But even though it's a trap, he agrees. Karik brings out his first sacrificial lamb, a knight named Malay, calling him the averages of their group. Ouch. He then points out that Yurin supposedly uses daggers, not a sword. But Yurin just picks up a wooden sword like it's no big deal, saying it's fine. Karik acts all surprised, clapping and mockingly telling him to try his best. The disrespect is off the charts. Yurin realizes these noble brats have been looking down on him from the start, just for using daggers. But you know what? He's not even mad. This is the perfect chance to test out his new heavenly martial body trait. He gets into position, ready to throw down. His opponent, Malay, just grins and tells him to bring it, even offering him the first move. Big mistake. With a single, impossibly fast motion, Yurin swings his sword. Before Malay can even blink, it's already over. Bam! The wooden blade connects right with his forehead, knocking him out instantly. Karik and the others are just speechless. Jaws on the floor as Malay crumples to the ground. Karik tries to laugh it off awkwardly, claiming Malay must have just let his guard down. He calls for a do-over and summons the next opponent. Get in here, Rula! He hypes this guy up as a mid to upper tier fighter, much stronger than Malay. Rula just scoffs, insulted to even be compared to that muscled pig Malay. The arrogance is strong with this one. And so the second match begins. This time, Rula doesn't hesitate. He lunges forward immediately with a powerful strike. But to Yurin, thanks to his new OP trait, the attack looks like it's happening in slow motion. He just thinks to himself, all I have to do is swing. So once again, he swings his sword with perfect timing. And just like before, whack, the wooden blade smacks his opponent right in the face. Karik is absolutely losing his mind. He cannot believe this. He just stares as Rula hits the deck, defeated in a single blow. Again, Yurin smiles innocently. His heavenly martial body is basically a cheat code. Then he taunts them, asking, does the Knight Academy only raise weaklings? That's the last straw. Karik is furious and demands one more round. He declares that this time he'll be Yurin's opponent himself. Yurin just gives him a cheeky little shrug. Suit yourself. The two of them face off in the center of the ring. Karik powers up, his body erupting in a powerful purple aura. He's not messing around. He stares down Yurin, ready to unleash his full strength. In a flash of speed, Karik vanishes, creating multiple afterimages that surround Yurin. Yurin watches the blurs, knowing it's a tactic designed to find an opening in his defense. But as the blurs whip around him, Yurin remains perfectly still, completely unfazed. Karik brings his sword down for the final blow, but with his new super senses, Yurin sees it all coming in slow motion. He smoothly sidesteps the attack and raises his sword. Before Karik can even react, Yurin slams his sword right into Karik's face. With a scoff, Yurin looks down at his opponent, knocked out cold on the ground. That's 3 for 3, folks. The onlooking knights are completely dumbfounded. They have absolutely no idea what they just witnessed. Suddenly, a new voice cuts through the stunned silence. What's going on here? The man walks right up to Yurin, eyeing him suspiciously and demanding, "Who are you?" And Yurin recognizes him instantly. This is his brother, the so-called sword genius Colin Rocks. Someone tells him that his big bro is here. Huh? Where? He asks. He looks around, demanding to know where his brother is. My man is confused. When his friend points out the slim, handsome man in front of him, Colin's brain short-circuits. He just cannot process this information. He starts screaming, "What kind of nonsense is this? Yurin looks like that?" All he can remember is the old Yurin, the one he constantly bullied. His internal monologue is literally, "That can't be. He's a pig. What a charming little brother." Finally getting a good look at him, Colin stammers in total disbelief, but Yurin just shrugs it off. "Oh, this? I lost some weight." Colin also notices he's taller now. Yurin smugly says that's just a side effect of the glow-up. Then, Colin glances over at the three knights Yurin just flattened. "Why are these guys like this?" he shouts. His friend whispers a quick recap of the one-punch beatdown. Colin is even more shocked. "That's impossible," he yells. He asks if the rumors about Yurin taking down an orc warrior are also true. Yurin just deadpans, "Yep, it's true." Colin is still sputtering, but Yurin interrupts. "Hey, how dare you speak so informally to your older brother, you punk." But Colin just keeps on going. He still can't wrap his head around the idea that his useless brother is now somehow strong. His entire worldview is crumbling. Yurin just calmly asks, "Little brother, are you trying to start something?" "Oh, that just pours gasoline on the fire." Colin explodes, yelling that he never saw Yurin as a brother, just a pig who happened to share the same parents. Ouch. Yurin's grin turns absolutely demonic. "Fine. I'll show you exactly why I'm your older brother. Come at me." Colin is more than happy to accept, but Yurin has one condition for this little duel. A bet. The loser grants the winner one wish. Anything they want. Colin grits his teeth and accepts. "Deal. When I win, I'll make you crawl at my feet like the worm you are." The brothers face off in the training hall, wooden swords in hand. Colin's friend whispers some last-minute advice. Yurin just smirks. He knows exactly what they're talking about. He's telling him how Yurin knocked out 3 guys with 1 hit each. With a battle cry, Colin immediately goes all out, unleashing his full power and surrounding himself with a swirling blue aura. No holding back. Yurin is impressed. Using his full aura from the very start, this kid is taking this seriously. Yurin does a quick status check. Yep, affection is at -78, labeled extreme dislike. Shocking, I know. He knows his brother is a so-called sword emperor, a natural prodigy who's never lost. That ego must be massive. But as Colin charges, Yurin activates his own skill, Small Dragon Step. He's just as confident, thinking, "Too bad for you, I don't think I'll lose either." Colin swings wildly, promising to give Yurin a proper beatdown, not just some cheap one-hit KO. Famous last words, my friend. Yurin just gives him a little smirk. "We'll see about that, little brother." Flash forward 10 minutes. The scene is a little different. Colin is panting, completely exhausted, while Yurin hasn't even broken a sweat. Yurin lands a solid thwack on Colin's back, then another to his stomach. The onlookers can't believe how one-sided this beatdown is. Colin finally collapses, begging him to stop. "It hurts too much. I lost. I admit it." But Yurin's not done. "Still speaking informally to me?" he asks, before smacking Colin some more. Through literal tears and sobs, Colin begs him to stop. Yurin towers over him, warning that next time the punishment will be twice as bad. With the fight settled, it's time to cash in on that bet. Yurin states his one wish. "From now on, whenever you are with me, you must always call me great older brother." Colin is horrified by how incredibly petty this is, but one look at Yurin raising his sword again, and he cracks. Okay, great older brother." With one brother thoroughly humbled, Yurin announces their next stop. They're heading to the Empire capital to pick up brother number 3, Ran. In a flash of light, they teleport using the magic tower. Jiranox is amazed. He's never fast-traveled to another country before. Yurin explains that the magic tower is a neutral zone, so they have branches everywhere. Soon they arrive at the massive Empire Knight Academy. Yurin points at the building and orders his new errand boy, Colin, to go fetch Ran. Remembering the beating, Colin reluctantly agrees. A moment later, he returns with another young man in a sharp uniform. And here comes brother number 3. Yurin greets his third brother, Rayon, who's just as completely stunned by Yurin's glow-up as Colin was. Poor kid's brain is buffering. Yurin confirms it's really him and gives Colin a pat on the back. "Good work bringing him out, Colin." Colin flinches, and through gritted teeth, he forces himself to say it. "Yes, great older brother. The humiliation is just delicious." Rand says he heard the quick version from Colin. Yurin's ready to head home, but Rand stops him. There's a pretty big problem. The entire Empire capital is under a complete lockdown. You can get in, but nobody is getting out. Not for a while. And the reason? The Empire's crown prince was just assassinated. While Colin's freaking out, Yurin's just thinking, "Wait a minute, I remember this event from my novel." Rayon confirms that the crown prince was assassinated at dawn. The two brothers argue about the absurdity of it all, but Yurin's mind is racing. The place is chock full of soldiers. How do you assassinate the crown prince in his own freaking capital? Rayon says it's just a rumor, but he's got all the juicy details for us. Apparently, the prince had his fiancée, a princess from another country, visiting him. To impress her, he dragged her out to the training grounds at dawn to watch him swing his sword around. So he finishes his little show and starts walking over to the princess, probably expecting a thank you kiss, when bam, a giant stone pillar shoots out of the ground and turns him into a human kebab. The priest rushed over to help, but nope, he was already dead. Talk about a bad first date. Colin immediately figures it has to be magic, but questions how anyone could use it inside the palace walls. Rayon adds that every single magic tower lord has been summoned. The whole capital is in total chaos. Colin just can't wrap his head around it. The guy died in his own backyard, in front of his girl. What a way to go. Yurin, however, isn't surprised at all. The moment he heard Stone Spear, he knew. My dude knows who did it, why they did it, and exactly where the assassin is hiding right now. The problem is, this organization was supposed to be a mid-game boss, not a tutorial-level threat. It feels like someone just hit the fast-forward button on the entire plot. He was planning on taking his time grinding levels, but now he has to figure out what his new overpowered body can actually do. Alright, business time. Yurin calls his brothers over, and Colin forces himself to say it, great older brother. Brown is totally confused, but Colin just tells him to shut up about it. The second-hand embarrassment is real. Yurin asks for the best inns in the city, and Ron suggests two with ridiculously epic names, Dragon's Tears and Giant's Oath. He gives them a mission, get leave from the Magic Tower, then wait for him at the Dragon's Tears Inn. And what will he be doing? Oh, just visiting an old friend. He strolls off, telling them not to bully Juranox on the way out. His brothers are just left there, completely dumbfounded. Since when did their trash brother have friends in the Empire? Later that night, Yurin makes his way through the city streets, ready for his solo mission. He stops in front of Flamberge, an exclusive nobles-only bar. Fancy. Time for a costume change. He slips into a sharp suit he conveniently had prepared. With his drip sorted, he moves to the next phase, summoning his trusty spirit ring, Agnes. Agnes grumbles about being woken up, but Yurin needs a little favor. He asks her to disguise his face, and the spirit is completely shocked. How did you know I could do that? Yurin just smiles and says he had a hunch. Agnes, now with little cartoon eyes, asks who he wants to look like. Yurin spots some random rich guy leaving the bar and tells Agnes to copy that face. Agnes summons some kind of liquid metal and tells him to just slap it on. So he smears the goo all over his face while thinking of the Viscount. And just like that, it morphs into a perfect copy. The guard at the door is confused. Viscount Ver, you're back already? Yurin plays it cool, saying he needed another drink and tells the guard not to work too hard. Smooth. He walks in, orders around, and just like that, the infiltration is a success. Now he just has to focus his energy and listen in on all the gossip. He starts picking up conversations about the Magic Tower and some business trips. Boring. Then he hears it, a heartbroken woman wailing. He must be crazy to dump someone like me. She starts crying, saying, that man is dead. And there it is. Yurin has found his target. At the counter, a woman in a red dress is sobbing her heart out to the bartender. The bartender tells her the best way to get over a man is to find a new one. A truly revolutionary idea. And just like that, she perks right up, saying he always knows what to say. Oh boy. Yurin watches from a distance. His plan is in motion. Now all he has to do is wait. Suddenly, a massive boom erupts from the building. Everyone inside starts screaming as the building collapses into a pile of rubble. So much for waiting. Yurin lands in the middle of the destruction, completely blindsided by this turn of events. He thinks, are you kidding me? She went berserk this fast? Floating above the wreckage, the assassin has mutated into some kind of monster. She screams, where is he? That guy just now. Yurin is just floored by the raw destructive power on display. He checks her stats. Name envy. One of the 7 deadly sins. Affection is at -99, which is pure murderous intent. He knew she was strong since she's not human, but this is a whole different level of crazy. Her monstrous form glares down at him. It's you, isn't it? A human? She lets out a terrifying roar. I'll tear you to shreds. Yurin starts sweating bullets, wondering if he can actually win this fight. But hey, what's a little murderous intent between friends? Yurin steels himself. This insane, life-threatening chaos is exactly what he came for. His first move? Crafting, of course. He quickly transforms his mask into a dagger, totally normal in a boss fight. The monster lady isn't impressed with his disguise. So, that's your true form? She seems to like what she sees, though. You're quite the handsome one. Good. I'll capture you alive and turn you into my personal plaything. And bam! She reveals her true form, a terrifying giant spider monster. Nope, absolutely not. She immediately lunges, forcing Yurin to leap back just to avoid getting turned into a shish kebab. He retaliates, chucking his freshly made dagger with everything he's got for a direct hit. But the dagger just pings right off her rock-hard skin. Okay, plan A was a bust. Time for plan B. Yurin unleashes his next skill, Black Iron Explosion. The attack slams into her head-on, engulfing her in a massive fireball. That's gotta hurt, right? But when the smoke clears, she's just standing there totally fine with a smug grin on her face. Yep, that did absolutely nothing. You used some fun magic, huh? She taunts. Yurin is just staring, completely baffled. Alright, looks like he's gotta pull out the big guns. He decides to use the same move that one-shotted that orc warrior. He unleashes the Bloodfire Palm, sending a swarm of fiery butterflies right at her face. And it's useless. She just swats his fiery butterflies away like they're annoying gnats. This is not going well, my friend. Yurin is officially in deep trouble. He's totally gassed and all his best moves have failed. What now? As terrified civilians scatter, Yurin knows he can't back down. He has to stall until the Capitol Guard finally shows up. Envy lunges again, forcing Yurin into a desperate dance of dodging her relentless attacks. The street is pure chaos, and Yurin knows he's dead if he keeps playing defense. He grits his teeth. Time to try something he's never even practiced before, the sword. He summons one of his spirit swords and channels his inner energy straight into the blade. Envy sees him getting ready. Here he comes, she shouts, clearly excited. He charges forward, his glowing sword clashing against her deadly stone spears. And what do you know? It actually works. The blade slices right through her rock-like limbs. He's doing damage. A smile finally appears on his face. Looks like our boy still has a chance after all. But Envy is just amused. You're pretty fun, aren't you? She says. Let's see how long you last. She unleashes a ridiculous barrage of spears and Yurin can barely keep up. But just as she's about to land the finishing blow, she suddenly freezes up, screaming in pain. My body, she groans. And that's when Yurin reveals his trump card. Turns out he's been poisoning her this whole time. What a sneaky little guy. The system confirms it. Multiple deadly poisons are now flooding her system. He played the long game, but the paralysis only lasts for 1 second. 1 second. Yurin knows he can't waste this tiny window. He activates Small Dragon's treasure, cranking his power and speed up to the max. In a flash, he's right on top of her. Sword raised for the kill just as the timer hits 0. He slashes to create an opening, then pours every last drop of his power into one final black iron explosion. He shoves his fist forward, blasting a hole clean through her chest. The blast just rips her apart. Yurin lands, breathing heavily, thinking it's finally over. Did I get her? He wonders. But as the smoke clears, all that's left is this weird, melting blob. Oh no, he yells, as the blob begins to reform, pulsing with a dark, sinister energy. But just as he prepares to finish it, a system warning pops up. Oh no. Envy is awakening into phase 2. Our boy completely forgot. Of course, these boss monsters have multiple phases. With a furious scream, phase 2 Envy lunges right at him. Her new attacks are way faster and more erratic, completely overwhelming Yurin's defenses. He's blocking desperately, but he knows it's only a matter of time. At this rate, he's a goner. And with one final, vicious slash, blood explodes, painting the darkness red. And just like that, Yurin is launched into the air like a rag doll. He crashes to the ground, shaken. Man, he really thought his head was about to fly clean off. It finally sinks in. One more mistake, and it's game over for real. The only option is to run. But Envy isn't having any of that. She sneers, and where do you think you're going? She lunges forward, forcing Yurin to desperately parry her sharp, rocky limbs. He's completely on the defensive, getting absolutely bullied by this thing. Another flurry of attacks sends him tumbling through the air once again. Ouch. And Envy is just loving every second of it, letting out a triumphant laugh. She taunts him, asking if he really thought he could escape. Struggle all you want. Meanwhile, on a quiet street nearby, a mysterious figure in a blue cloak appears. Classic. The silence is broken by panicked citizens shouting, "A monster appeared. We have to call the guards." One of them points, describing a monster covered in stone spears. The figure freezes. Stone spears, you say? A sudden realization hits her. No way, Envy. The men confirm the description, then wonder if it's tied to the Crown Prince's assassination. Wasting no time, the figure leaps onto a rooftop, heading straight for the fight. Back in the alley, Yurin is cornered as Envy closes in for the kill. This does not look good, folks. She cackles, "Shall we wrap this up now?" and launches a final, overwhelming attack. Yurin's eyes widen in terror. He's actually thinking, is this how I die? But just as he's about to be deleted, a system window pops up. Oh, thank you, plot armor. He's unlocked 2 special privileges. His heavenly eye gets absorbed, upgrading his creator's eye to level 2. He can now see the predicted path of his opponent's attacks. Suddenly, a full-blown simulation of the incoming attack floods his mind. His eyes dart around, tracking the lines of light, and bam, he's found the opening. With this new cheat code, dodging is a piece of cake. He sidesteps the attack with minimal movement. A smirk spreads across his face. He's already thinking he could dodge attacks with his eyes closed. Calm down, buddy. Envy is completely floored. She screams, "What? How did you do that?" Then the second privilege activates the Realm of Ascension, a temporary power-up that triggers right before a death crisis. Yurin's sword begins to hum, glowing with a brilliant blue-white energy as his internal power surges to its maximum. He's enveloped in this new aura, feeling a massive rush of power. With this, he knows he has a chance. Onlookers in a nearby building are in awe. A kid shouts, "Wow, Mom, look, the Knight of Light has appeared." Envy launches another attack, but now Yurin is a blur of blue lightning, effortlessly weaving through every strike. In an instant, he closes the distance, appearing right in front of the stunned monster. Envy can only gasp, "No," as Yurin raises his glowing sword for the final blow. "Take this," he screams, unleashing a devastating slash. The attack connects, engulfing the entire street in a massive pillar of blinding white light. Talk about overkill. The child cheers again from the window. "Mum, the Knight of Light has defeated the monster." Yurin pants, catching his breath and wondering, "Did I do it?" A system window confirms his exhaustion. He knows he only won because of those last-minute power-ups. Yeah, no kidding. He realizes he needs to use every last bit of strength to get out of there before the guards arrive. But suddenly, a strange energy fills the air. He turns around in shock. The shattered remains of Envy are flying back together, glowing with a malevolent red energy. A warning flashes before his eyes. Envy is entering phase 3, her final form. Of course she is. A new, spiky yellow creature reforms, looking like roadkill but grinning menacingly. "You bastard, I won't let you get away." Well, Urine is completely screwed. And just like that, Envy's back, in her final horrifying form. Our boy's inner force is completely drained. He is running on absolute empty. Thinking this is the end, he watches the monster lunge, its spiky limbs shooting forward to turn him into a kebab. He flinches, bracing for impact, but the attack freezes. It stops just inches from his face. Envy grunts in confusion. Suddenly, she's restrained by thick white bandages that have wrapped around her entire body. And look who it is. A mysterious cloaked woman has appeared, her hand outstretched. Talk about a dramatic entrance. The monster roars at her, but she just calmly says, "Envy, stop. This isn't the time for us to reveal ourselves." Urine is completely stunned. He recognizes her. That's the ridiculously powerful woman he ran from at the Divine Dragon Palace. A system window pops up, identifying the newcomer. Of course, she's another one of the 7 deadly sins. Lust. Urine is baffled. Did she just say now isn't the time to fight? Does that mean they're just gonna leave? After all this? With a simple "let's go," Lust just yeets herself off the roof, dragging the massive struggling monster with her. What an exit. Left alone in the rubble, Urine finally catches his breath. Phew. A wave of relief washes over him. He survived. He hears the city guards approaching and decides it's time to disappear before they start asking annoying questions. The sun rises and a new day begins. Urine finally drags himself back to the inn, where the keeper welcomes him. Back in his room, he asks about his brothers, Colin and Ryan. But Urinox's nervous face tells him something is up. Turns out, after news of a terrorist attack broke, his brothers ran out at dawn to go play hero and catch the culprit. Urine just laughs. He's way too tired to deal with their antics right now. He immediately face plants onto the bed, completely exhausted. He drifts off to sleep, but he still can't stop thinking about the battle. That brutal fight with Envy had one major upside. He's leveled up. The 10,000 Poisons body scripture is now at 4 stars. But it's not enough. If he struggled this hard against Envy, who's supposedly the weakest sin, what hope does he have against the others? He knows that far more terrifying enemies are on their way, and they're not going to just let him walk away next time. He sits up, a new fire burning in his eyes. Time for some serious grinding. He needs to get stronger, and he needs to do it fast. Meanwhile, his brothers are back in the common room. Raun is excitedly gossiping about last night's chaos. He's describing a monster beyond human ability, one that shot stone spears from its body and destroyed entire buildings. Then, he says, a mysterious knight of light appeared from nowhere, wielding a shining sword that blasted the monster away. As Colin wonders aloud who this amazing hero could be, the Knight of Light himself walks into the room yawning. Changing the subject, Urine asks about their application to leave. Colin confirms it was approved, thanks to the family name. Urine tells them to get going immediately. He's worried they'll get trapped in the city if another incident goes down. As they prepare to leave, Ryan points out how wiped Urine looks, but his older brother just tells him to drop it. They finally arrive back home at the ridiculously huge Rox family estate. Seriously, look at this place. Their father, Marquis Wellington Rox, is waiting for them outside, laughing and beaming with pride. He gives Ryan a big hug, commenting on how much he's grown, and warmly welcomes all his boys back home. He immediately asks about the major incident in the capital, and Ryan eagerly volunteers to spill all the tea. But the Marquis tells them to rest up first. They can talk about everything over dinner later. Inside, as Urine heads to his room, he's greeted by a familiar voice. It's his butler, Erin. She's amazed at his transformation, pointing out how much stronger he's gotten and that he's earned 2 new titles. Urine has no idea what she's talking about. She clarifies he's now known as the Iron Magician and the Rookie Slayer. Rookie Slayer? Urine asks. Erin explains that was because he wiped the floor with 4 so-called masterclass students, and smiles. Since those guys were all top-tier rookies, he's now famous for taking them all down. Urine just face palms. Urine starts to mention he has gifts for Erin and cried, but he's cut short when Peru bursts into the room shouting his name. Panicked, Peru tells him now is not the time for gifts. You can see the pure stress on this man's face. Apparently, the Marquis has summoned them all for dinner, and it's happening right now. At a grand dinner table, Marquis Rox greets his 3 sons, asking if they're well rested after their journey. Before the food arrives, he says he'll explain why he gathered them. All 3 brothers lean in with anticipation. With a dead serious face, he makes a bombshell announcement. We will begin the trial to determine the successor. That's a wrap on this recap. Hit that subscribe button to help us keep pumping out awesome content. Catch you in the next one.